is from Eternia here tonight. Sorry,
Did you forget your name?
I did for a second.
Hebrew, somebody. I'm a Hebrew.
Was that on a practice run or are we live?
We're live.
Okay.
So
That was awesome.
I think
Yep, that's one we'll never forget.
that was hey. So was that as funny as that one where I echoed when I came
I
in?
don't think we'll beat the Echo. That was just perfect. That's definitely top two.
Uh-oh. Eddie says, "Where the hell is Dan?"
He don't know. He don't know his name.
Right. I forgot my name there for a second. Oh, what a way to begin the show. So how's everybody doing tonight on tonight's Shifty Sunday?
Doing good. Getting ready to start another long work week.
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I've had a nice, relaxing day, actually.
Took my little brother to the fair. The big county fair started today, so.
All right, that sounds like fun. Was it good weather and everything?
Oh, if you consider 80 some 90 degrees good. I mean, it wasn't raining, but it was
Right.
warm. But yeah, found some shady spots, had some ice cream. It was all good, but it was warm. Yeah, same old county fair. You know, walk around, look at the horses and the cows and the goats and the Hebrew faces and the rabbits. I like the bunny barn. It's always my personal favorite. I like bunnies. But yeah, good time. My brother always go out for a taco. That's what he said. Go to the fair, get some taco.
Yeah. Those are good.
I myself had to have the fair hot sausage.
My wife always has to get the funnel cakes every time we.
Yeah. Yep. There's those that have to cake for sure. That's a big fair thing. Funnel cakes, candy apples.
Lemon shake ups. Gotta have lemon shake up. Gotta have lemon shake up if they make it with real lemons. That's the thing. If they don't make it with real lemons, I asked them, I said, "You guys make yours of real lemons?" No. Well, then I ain't getting one.
What? How are you going to have lemonade without real lemon in it?
I know.
There should be half a lemon in your cup floating when they're done.
Definitely.
Yeah, we had to get the lemonade, of course.
So, like your avatar there, Armor Up.
Yeah, I think Eddie thinks it's the Affleck duck. I'm trying to see it. Affleck.
Or fried. Yeah, fried
butter.
Deep fried butter. I'm sorry, you were talking?
I just said deep fried butter.
Yeah. You ever had those deep fried Snickers?
No.
I think I may have tried a deep fried Twinkie once at a fair or something like that. I didn't think it was that good. It was like it was like air. Everything inside it just kind of dissolved.
Yeah, I've never tried any of the deep fried stuff like that. Like Eddie said, deep fried ice cream. I've heard of that too. No, I've never tried the Snickers or ice cream or any of the cakes. Deep fried pickles, all that crazy stuff. You can try anything now. You batter it.
Yeah.
There's actually a restaurant down here in Florida where you can bring your whatever you catch. Like if you go out fishing in the ocean or whatever, you just bring it into the restaurant, whatever you catch, and they'll prepare it for you. That's what they do at this restaurant.
Deep fried roadkill.
Yeah.
Eddie Von Keen said the deep fried ice cream's like orbs around. I don't know if I want orbs around me.
Or
They don't stick around. They're chicken. They run, but orbs.
Yeah, I've had it at a Mexican restaurant, the fried ice cream or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, it's
I
like
would give it a try. I love ice cream and I love deep fried stuff. So.
it's like imagine like a cinnamon sugar kind of like glazed, like hard glazed on the outside of a scoop of ice cream.
it's caramelized.
Yeah.
Caramelized, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely sounds. I would try.
We have our state fair coming up here in a week or so, I think. And
he wasn't talking about the ice cream. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to interrupt you, but he said no. He's talking about the circles on the screen. I'm surrounded by orbs. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, yeah. Two white orbs.
Sorry.
Yeah, I see that now.
Oh, okay. But no, we have our state fair coming up here in a week or so, and they used to just charge you for the parking. Now they charge you for the parking and the entrance. And that's not to mention all the other stuff that you get to do. There's still don't get me wrong, there's still quite a bit of free stuff that you get to do, but it's when you come from years of not charging to get in, and then all of a sudden you start charging people to get in, that's when you know your state's in trouble.
Yeah, I would agree with you there.
Ours is just a county fair, and they still don't charge for parking, thank goodness, but they did charge us to get in. $5 just to get in, and then that don't get you anything free. Well, a lot of the exhibits will have like free flash water and, sign up for a free contest.
Does your
free roller, stuff like that. But
yeah, enter drawing or whatever for
the rides all cost money,
price.
And shows all cost extra. So yeah,
they still do the tickets thing where like if you like buy the more tickets you buy, you get the more significant of a discount on the tickets.
Well, here they have like an early sale. Like if you'd have bought tickets last week or a couple weeks ago before the fair started, you could get them cheaper.
Okay.
Or you mean the ride tickets or the entrance tickets?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even sure. I just know like if you go up to the ticket booth, like you can get usually, I don't know, let's just for example say you can get 5 tickets for $5, or if you're willing to spend $20, you can get 25 tickets. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that'd be like your ride tickets, and they still do that. And a lot of them, like around here, they'll sell like a wristband. You can pay the $15 or $20, and then the kids can just ride the whole time. They got a wristband basically. They don't use.
Oh, okay. Well,
or you can go with
that's your best value.
Yeah, that's your best value. Or you can buy tickets also, but yeah, most people go with the wristband.
We have a lot of the election tents. In the election tents, you get a bunch of free stuff for them, like the Republican and Democrat tents and stuff. And it's like, hey, I don't care who you guys are. I'm not voting for you, but I'll take your stuff.
Yeah. We actually, that's where my little brother, he got a fly swatter from the Republican booth. He got a fan that had a USA on the one side and Trump 2020 on the other. That was wonderful. That's hilarious the rest of the day because he's walking around 2020. I'm like, dude, you're going to trigger the Democrats. He's like, huh?
Yeah.
And you just go, boy, don't worry about it. I said, it was funny at our fair. I should have got pictures. This was hilarious. When we walked into one barn, because the Democrat and Republic booths are both in the same barn, basically. And we walked by the Democrat booth. There literally was not even a volunteer at the booth, let alone anyone around it. It was just like an empty spot. with not even a representative to sign you up for the Democratic Party.
I don't normally get involved in politics because I find
Yeah,
it kind
yeah,
of boring
I
myself.
think this was just funny though. And then 10 feet
But
later was the Republican booth. There was uh, volunteers everywhere behind the desk giving away all kind of free stuff, signing you up. You could buy
yep,
T-shirts, and it's like it was
I've
just
no.
funny.
That Cincinnati, Ohio is where I'm from. Trump just recently had that rally there, so I was watching a channel that was covering it because I was looking to see if I might. Honestly, I was looking to see who I might recognize because I know I grew up there my whole life, so I know a lot of people. I work downtown, so I thought maybe I might see somebody I know, right? And they were basically it was the line was wrapped around that whole building. I mean, it was standing room only. It took people probably hours just to get inside this big arena that he was filling. And then if you compare that to the Democratic, any one of those Democratic people that are running right now, not a single one of them probably has more than 1,000 people at any given rally. I mean, the difference right now is immense between the amount of support any one particular Democrat has versus what the crowds Donald Trump is drawing. And then um, I'm in a couple different games online. I play a card game, and we have like for lack of a better word, a guild or an alliance or whatever you want to call it, where we all kind of like have a chat. We all kind of like talking, and we usually all the conversation usually stays focused on the game. Very rarely does it divulge into politics or anything that is a current mainstream news topic or anything of that nature. Religion, politics. That's kind of considered taboo in a game chat because everybody's so diverse. I mean, you got people from different countries, different ethnicities. I mean, it's the whole gambit. So it's just best to avoid those subjects, generally speaking. So it rarely comes up. But I have to admit that in both today, I saw where people were talking about the recent um, shootings that have taken place, the one in El Paso and the one in Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah, was there one
And
today in Dayton? That's what I was
yeah,
wondering. Yeah.
yeah. And so
Article.
I got to thinking, we're talking about the county fairs coming up this summer. It's a shame if those are able to cause people to be afraid to go to their own county fair or to take their kids out to a festival or something because they just had that garlic festival one about a week ago to the day. And I mean, and then of course I don't want to get into the politics of talking gun control or not gun control because that's I mean I don't know, that just isn't something that we normally talk about here on this channel. But I think maybe we could at least discuss the how it can how people can find strength spiritually and stay strong and not let it make them afraid to go out and carry on with their lives like they normally would.
Well,
Anybody got
yeah, I
anything to
mean,
add to that?
yeah, I mean, it's a scary world out there. It don't matter if you're going to let that bother you. You know what I mean? There's crazy
Right.
people out there, but like you said, you can't let it ruin your life and never go out and do anything in the public just because some crazy dude shot somewhere up. If it even really happened, you know what I mean? We won't even go to that angle of it, but you know,
Well, yeah, but I mean, you could be at the
everybody
place where they set the stage even for whatever it is. I mean, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to be at the place when that happens, whatever that thing is.
yeah,
But at the same time, I think the answer isn't not to go. It's just to stay vigilant and be alert and be aware of your surroundings. Know where your exits are. Have a contingency plan if something was to pop off. Subconsciously get into the habit of just making sure you're covering your p's and q's. To me, that seems like the logical way to go about doing things if you're really truly concerned, or if you're going to a place where you think it's even a remote possibility.
yeah. I mean, you should always be prepared
That's the point. When
for
do you
anything.
feel like there is no place safe.
Yeah, they want fear. I mean, it's all
Yeah.
from the enemy. He wants fear. You know, the enemy, the real enemy, the world enemy, the flesh enemy, and the enemy, the spirit enemy. That's both their agendas. It's all about fear. They're all about keeping you afraid, keeping you indoors, keeping you docile.
And I think they've came to the conclusion that one little random one, once every other month or so, isn't quite doing it for us. We're not getting enough fear. We need to make about we need to make one happen within a week of another one, and maybe two within a 48-hour stretch. Like I think that it's. I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm not saying it's planned that way, but it almost seems like they're really stepping it up. If and maybe it is just people who are having some type of that are having some type of mental breakdown, or have been indoctrinated to carry out a malicious act on through some type of mind control, or what I mean. There's so many different theories. I mean, I'm not even trying to go down every single rabbit hole that exists pertaining to it. I'm just really trying to stay focused on the positive and not letting it bring you down and make you afraid to go outside. For instance, this current radio station that I'm listening to during the day, on the news, they keep talking about these mosquitoes that are carrying this some type of sickness or virus. And the best way to avoid getting bit is to not have standing water and don't go outdoors at night. That's what they're saying is the way. Like, don't go out. So what am I supposed to stay in my house as soon as the sun goes down to avoid potentially getting bit by a mosquito? I mean, really? I mean, but that's the message they're putting out there. It's almost like it's really just seems like propaganda to me to try to get people not to go out at night. I don't know. Maybe I'm just over analyzing it, but that just seems to be the way it's going for me. Like, it seems like they're out to just try to make everybody scared to go do anything and leave their homes. If I was a middle-aged, if I was an old, I could see how an elderly person in their 70s or 80s sitting at home is afraid to even go to the local grocery store because she's afraid something's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep. And unfortunately, a lot of times something does happen to the elderly folks trying to go to the grocery store, but not all the time. But yeah, either way, you shouldn't be afraid. Why be afraid?
Right.
I mean, personally, I just know as long as I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing for the Father, ain't nothing going to take me out till he says it can. So it don't matter to me. You know what I mean? That's what I believe, personally. So,
I totally agree with you there.
you know what I
It
mean?
just seems like it's really hitting home with it showing up in both of these chat rooms I see today. I'm imagining schools and workplaces all across the country today. That's been the main topic of conversation.
Flags, but they're going on due to the pedophilia shit that's
Yeah.
going down
That's a good point.
to draw away from that.
Yeah. I think my wife just had a good point too. And I thought about this before myself. Actually, when the first shooting happened. Or no, actually it's when what the heck happened? Something else happened. But I think it's all basically to distract us from the pedophiles that are getting rounded up like Epstein and them right now. They're trying to draw all the attention away from that as much as possible because
Yeah, what was that show? Wag the dog or something like that.
yeah, the one where they made the false war, false
Yeah.
flag war or something. Yeah. Yeah, basically the same type of thing. False flags. Now, when I say false flags, that isn't a hoax. You know, I don't know if people died for real or not, but even if people really died, that's still can be a false flag. A hoax
Yeah, it's basically
guys and
I
fake
mean,
everything. I'm not saying it was fake. I don't know. I haven't looked into any of it.
no, people may have really died, but that doesn't
That's
mean that
still a false flag.
it wasn't arranged.
Yeah, planned. And now, like you said, there's a million rabbit holes there. Was it a triggered MK? Who knows? That's highly possible.
Right.
It's real. Was it just a black op? Who knows? That's highly possible. It's real, you know. But they could have pulled a false flag many different ways. If it was, I don't know. I just heard about the one today. and haven't even looked at the other one. Barely know that it happened in Texas, I think. But
Well, they haven't released. Last I heard, they hadn't released the identity of the Dayton person, but both the Garlic and the El Paso, they both had ties to 4chan and 8chan being on there and being indoctrinated with all that hubbub. I don't know if you've ever been on one of those 4chan or 8chans, but they're extremely political. They lean excessively. That's where that whole QAnon thing stems from 4chan and 8chan, and it's all about, And then when it's not just United States citizens on there. You got a whole lot of um, the extreme Muslim thinkings and stuff like that. Not the kinder, gentler Muslims, but the other kind, if you know what I mean.
yeah, well, if they're trying to attach it to the 4chan, 8chan, or whatever that's called, like the wife said, that's where Q, I guess, hangs out too. That's where all the Q. So that would make a lot more sense. That would help discredit Q, Trump, It definitely
Yeah,
plays to the leaning towards a black op type agenda, in my opinion.
exactly.
But I'm saying, I haven't even looked at it. I know nothing about it. So, but I'm
Right.
just saying what little bit I'm hearing. I think they're definitely meant to be. If for anything else, I mean, that's if it's tied to that, that's also to discredit all that. But I already figured it's, more to pull attention away from the pedo ring that might hopefully go down. Who knows? They might just use Epstein as their fall guy because he's an idiot. Who knows?
Now, I'm pretty convinced that he's not going to ever make it to trial. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, I don't think that the powers that be are going to let him go in there and sing like a canary. Do you really think that's going to happen?
If he would have the cojones to sing, it would never happen. But I think he'll just fold and be a fall guy and go to cushy prison the rest of his life.
Okay, but
My-
even still, as long as he's alive, he could always decide to write a book or to do a tell all, have a reporter come visit him. You know what I mean?
But if he'd die, I mean, they've already got away with murder, literally, way more than they should have. If they
But
take
could
him
you,
out now,
if you were the multi-million-dollar guy that he could you sleep at night knowing that he at any moment knowing that he could decide to flip on you? I
knowing,
mean,
knowing that your guys were with him 24/7, you probably could. It ain't like every guard that's ever going to be near him or every one that's ever going to be anywhere around him is not going to be under their control. You know what I mean?
right?
The minute he does say, "I want to talk," they would be the one to make sure he never did, basically.
I see.
Who would he tell
All
them?
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I never really thought of it like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the way I look at it. But yeah, I don't know. I can't see him squealing because I just personally don't think he has the cojones. He messes with children. He ain't got no balls. You know what I mean? He ain't a man. He'll just roll over, do his time.
But I have to assume that there's somebody's interrogating him and trying. I mean, the whole point of arresting him was to try to get more information, right? I mean, that was the purpose of it, wasn't it?
Well, that's always the purpose. No matter what they arrest, you arrest a street level crack dealer, and you're going to get him to roll. That's your
Right.
purpose. You want the next guy up. So yeah, that's always what they want, but seldom what they get.
I
Especially,
don't think they resort
I mean,
to.
the best hope. What I pray for is that they find evidence somewhere linking
Oh yeah,
all
like
the names we want to
tapes that
say,
he's
but we can't
made.
for channel
Yeah,
purposes. But linking all the ones we know need to be linked, the real ones, the ones that are doing the trafficking, the
yeah.
yeah,
Documents that actually prove people were there, some type of videotape or audio
yeah. We
recording. That
know
would
there's
be nice.
tons
Yeah,
of videotapes,
yeah.
thousands. That was the whole point. Epstein videoed everything. That was the whole scheme. That's how he had them all in his pocket.
Right.
He had dirt
Yeah.
on everybody. So there's plenty of now. Whether that all got burned up when the island mysteriously burnt, who knows? More than likely, that's probably where almost all the videos went. But you can.
Yeah, I
always
mean, I know they raided his New York address, but I don't know, and I think they raided his boat, but I don't know that they've been on his island properties yet or not. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if they've done the island at all yet, but I know there was a fire there. And there's one channel putting out a lot of awesome drone footage. I can't believe he's getting this drone in where he's getting it. But yeah, it clearly shows there's nothing going on at the island right now. But he's got drone footage of it all. And I'll tell you what, from what I've seen, there's no doubt Epstein, well, we all know Epstein was into all kind of crazy child trafficking, and I personally believe probably some type of Satanism. And after seeing his island and symbolism and the way stuff's laid out, I'm thinking he was probably a druid of some kind.
Huh.
A lot of druidic type things. Also a lot of ancient Babylon, Egyptian. I mean, yeah, his island is a piece of work. There's no doubt sacrifices went on there. Not in my mind. This dude's got awesome drone footage. I think his channel was Rusty Shackelford or something like that.
And it's on YouTube?
Oh, yeah. He's got incredible
I think
drone.
I've seen him. Rusty Shackelford is the other name that Dell uses in the cartoon King of the Hill, by the way.
Yeah, in fact, all his last videos since Epstein got busted is basically drone footage of his island.
That's crazy.
All right.
Awesome drone footage. I mean, I don't know what kind of drone he got, but it's pretty amazing. He's getting right in there, looking in windows, and it's definitely an interesting island. But we all know, I mean, well, I don't know if we all know, but I know because that's why I asked for prayers for the children. I've researched this crap for a long time.
Yeah.
So I know what all Epstein and the others who shall not be named for channel purposes. There's so many connections to child trafficking, child sacrifice. It's disgusting. I mean, there was a lady, like I said, we won't mention names, but anyone who researches this at all will know what I'm talking about. But there was a lady in Haiti who got arrested for trying to leave with I forget how many children. But she was supposedly bringing them to America for adoption. They were supposed orphans. But the parents showed up and said, "Whoa, where are you taking our children?" And this lady ended up in prison in Haiti for trying to traffic these children. Well, those who shall not be named bailed her out and got her out of Haiti with no problem. Just the charges, basically, they stepped in and removed her from Haiti. She is now the head of Child Protective Services nationwide.
Go figure.
Yeah. So this is a deep, evil, we're talking high ups. You know what I mean?
Are you kidding me? She's like in charge of child and family services around a bunch of places.
The main child. She's the
main
Child Protective Service head honcho in DC. The main one that runs them all.
Oh my God.
That's what she got for getting caught trying to traffic the children in Haiti for these people who name.
That's nuts, dude.
That's fact, dude. That's what makes it.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
Yep, they went and got her out of there, and she now protects our children in the nation.
I mean, I get it when somebody hacks your business, so you give them a job as your IT security guy, but this doesn't really quite fit the same way, does it?
No, she wasn't hacking their business. She was their business.
Oh, man, that's like putting well, he's dead now, but putting Charles Manson in charge of
Your church congregation?
yeah, well, in charge of the Vatican.
Well, he basically is.
Uh-oh.
Well, it's the same spirit.
Okay,
Hi, Michelle. Michelle showed up.
I knew I shouldn't have said that.
Thank you, Michelle.
Hi, yeah, well, nice to see she
All right,
made it.
enough talking about the evil, nasty.
Yeah,
pedophile.
let's move on.
I wanted to bring something up. Michelle mentioned your pick, and I want to bring something up. It looks like there's a beam of light. If you look at the very top, it looks kind of like a rainbowish type color going across like a.
That's cool.
Yeah, I know, right? Looks kind of like an aura. Aura. Yeah. Isn't that something? What's that noise? Someone smashing jars?
Yeah, I'll mute up. Go ahead.
It's not like someone. Well, either that or you know how the musicians take the watch and they put it into a towel and they smash it. Sounds like that's what was going on.
That's wild you say smashing jars, though. Because I was just watching a video going over the Book of Truth, which is like probably one of my top 5 favorite ones. And that's the part where it's just going over about it's a verse that says something about they left their homes and smashed their jars because they were no good or something. But that is wonderful because now they can be refilled with good jars that's full and overflowing or something. I forget the exact scripture, but it's awesome. And you said smashing jars. I was like, whoa.
Oh, cool.
Synchronicity.
Yeah. Haven't had one of those in a little bit. I like Eddie Von Keen's comment, make Charlie Manson the main singer for the Beach Boys, because that's basically almost what happened.
If they'd have did that, he'd have never flipped out. That's all he wanted.
Yeah.
He just wanted to be a famous singer. They wouldn't let him. They had other plans for Charlie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. But me and Sagittarically Speaking had a pretty good discussion and not hangouts, but on the phone the other day. When we were live last night, we were talking about Ghostbusters and the tech, and he was talking about was that tech based on anything in real life, and I was telling him that actually yes it was. A lot of their stuff is based off electronic magnetic energy, and that's what a lot of people think that ghosts are, is energy. That ghosts are made up of basic like energy, like when we die we leave behind energy, like our bodies are made up of electrons and neurons and atoms and so forth. And so I said the basic idea behind the Ghostbusters tech is that they take, how did I phrase that last night? They take a magnetic electronic force, which you would have to have the force of a nuclear blast. It would have to be powered by the force of a nuclear accelerator, basically. And that's how you would trap a ghost, in layman's terms, trap a ghost. But it's interesting because he asked me that question, and I watched a documentary on ghost tech. You ever see any documentaries on ghost tech?
I don't know if I've seen any documentaries on the tech. I used to always watch the ghost hunter type people, and so I know a little bit about the type of tech they use because I'd always watch them. They always set it up and explain it to you. But yeah, I don't think I ever seen an actual documentary on the tech itself.
And when Harold Ramis had written the script, he had done research on people. Like he didn't believe in ghosts. Dan Aykroyd was the only one of the three original Ghostbusters that believed in actual ghosts. And he had actually done research at the University of what university was that? That one in New York. What's that one called?
I'm not sure.
That big university there, New York State. Anyway, I'll think of it later. But he had done some research, and they use what they call EMF detectors, and the EMF stands for electronic magnetic frequencies.
Yeah.
And now when you watch those ghost shows, that's mostly what they use to record electronic voice phenomenon is what they call it. EF, electronic voice,
EVPs.
EVP. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say, but
And that's
basically,
at Georgetown. Now, Georgetown's in D.C. I drive right by it all the time. Cornell, is that the big one in New York? That's one of the big ones in New York, Cornell.
Harvard, maybe. Is that Newark?
I don't think Harvard's in New York.
I don't know if it's New
All
York.
right. Well, I Googled Dan Aykroyd in the word university, and it came up with Carleton University.
Okay, that wasn't it though.
All right.
But basically, they did their research. Now, what was it that you asked me? Exactly, what was it that I told you? What was the word I used?
Ion. You came up with the word ion.
Oh, yeah, it's based around our ions in the body chemistry and the makeup. And when we die, we leave behind all these ions. Or so people think. Now, there was a famous researcher that had done some research on the human body and had measured how much a person weighs at the time of death and weighed after so many minutes after that person died or something like that. And
I'm familiar with what you're talking about.
Yeah, I remember they did that a long time ago when I was a kid. That was probably like in the 80s or the 70s. There was actually a weight loss upon death.
I know it was only like so many ounces, I think, or something like that, or maybe a pound.
Yeah, I don't even think it was a very light amount.
They were trying to research and trying to figure out what the weight of the actual human soul would be. Wasn't that what it was about, or am I way off base here?
Well, no, they were trying.
It's considered. It's called the 21 grams experiment.
Yeah, it's basically trying to prove the fact that there was a soul. If you lost weight instantly, that would prove that something left, basically.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking too, but I didn't know if it had something to do about the. But anyway, yeah, so they did that research, and basically they were finding out also that we leave off these electronic ions and atoms when we die. Also, that because we're all made up of atoms, right?
Yeah, basically everything's atoms, I guess.
Yeah, everything has got its atomic reality.
So they had done extensive research before they did this comedy ghost movie. So I just thought it was interesting. If you ever have the chance, do any of you guys own any of the DVDs with the extra materials on it?
I don't own any DVDs anymore. I gave them all away.
Really?
Yeah, get rid of
I
them.
used to have a heck of a collection now.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I think you can look it up on YouTube anyway. It's the documentary behind the film of Ghostbusters, is what it's called. And they talk about how they used actual tech talk, tech babble, how they researched into how the premise, when they started off with the premise, is basically how would a real scientist go about finding ghosts, and how would they go about basically in the real world, how they would go about trapping a ghost and holding it. And there's a whole long thing on there. There was a whole long paper that someone wrote at the University of what's that one in California?
Berkeley.
Yeah, University of Berkeley. Someone had actually wrote a long what am I saying? Feces.
Thesis.
Feces.
You're cracking my wife up. Feces. You almost said feces.
Yeah, I did.
Same thing.
They wrote a feces. Yeah, same thing. The wife said.
Yes.
Thesis.
It probably was, but most of those basically are, right?
Yeah.
But so yeah, they wrote an entire thing on actual ghost busting and stuff, and how it would be, and also how it would infect the environment. And they did like the whole EPA, like how the bad guy in there was the head of the EPA and stuff like that. But anyway, basically, to what we were saying, you can look all that stuff up in the documentary, and I think it's all on YouTube if you don't have it on a DVD, but it is on the special edition, the 30th special edition Ghostbusters DVD. It's got Ghostbusters 1 and 2 on there, so anybody can check that out, or they could check it out on YouTube. Thank you.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah, and it's amazing how Hollywood and a lot of even the science fiction books I read as a child had so much fact in them in the future. You know what I mean? It's almost like they were either prophetic, to use the term loosely, or had insights into way more than the public did at that time.
Well, look at Jules Verne. You look at Jules Verne and some of the works that he did, and you look at some of the stuff that he describes, like submarines, and I think he describes radio, and he describes.
Oh yeah, he pretty much wrote about nuclear subs, and then they came about, and all kind of things. Yep, that's a perfect example.
Yep.
And it was a lot of authors, and of course Hollywood took over once movies began. Well, of course, radio first, and then a lot of that, and then TV took over Hollywood. But it's amazing how a lot of the movies and shows 10, 20 years later were almost predictive.
Right.
I mean, look at Star Trek with the communicators.
I was getting ready.
We all wanted the communicator. Well, now we all got one. They're called cell phones. I mean,
I was getting ready to say you can compare it to Star Trek, and even if you look at Star Trek Next Generation, how they had touch screen, and they had FaceTime, and they had all of that stuff that they had on there basically came true within the last 10 or 15 years later. I mean, that show was done in the late 80s, early 90s. We never even heard about, FaceTime or, on-screen talk like we're doing right now, basically. We never even,
And look at the book 1984 Orwell. I mean, if that isn't a picture of our very, very near future, in my opinion, what is? I mean, thought crimes and groupthink and Big Brother's watching, and I mean, we're living it. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys are familiar with the whole Edgar Casey
Oh yeah.
phenomenon as
I'm
well.
sorry. What? I was scratching my ear right when you were talking. What was that again?
The Edgar Casey phenomenon.
Yeah, Edgar Casey. He was sort of, I guess they'd call him what, like a prophet, basically. He had a lot of predictions.
Yeah, or clairvoyant, I guess is the.
Actually, he had a lot. There's a lot. I don't just rule out these people personally. I find them quite interesting. A lot of the stuff they said. Mother Shipton's another one. Most people would probably never even heard of her, but Mother Shipton's prophecies. I mean, they're interesting. Just like I said
Who
before,
was the
it wasn't just the
guy
book
that
stuff.
had the son that had that something wrong with them, and he actually somehow clairvoyantly figured out the cure for it, like what was bothering his son. He went on to write other famous books that, kind of like science fiction type books that came true and things of that nature. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, you might mean oh shoot, his name's right on the tip of my tongue. Oh, you mean is it Philip K. Dick?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, thought so.
That's an interesting story as well.
Oh yeah, and that's what I mean. A lot of the authors. That's what I'm saying. There was a lot of them that either knew something that was trying to warn us as best they could, or basically had to be prophetic. There's no other way around it. Either they had insight into inside information, or someone was trying to get a message to us. You know what I mean? Whether they knew it or not.
Everything that's going on in the Terminator movies. Oh, I'm sorry. Was I talking over someone?
No, it's
No,
just
go ahead.
Lorraine said Isaac Asimov. That's another good example.
Oh.
Author. Go ahead, Hebrew. Sorry about that.
I was just saying that even everything in the Terminator movies, look at all the stuff that's coming true in those movies. Now you have AI and you have the artificial parts that they're putting on people now, and then you have the eye scanners and you have the brain. What's those things called now that they're putting into the human?
Neuralates. And do you realize they call it Skynet? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
They named it
Wait, no.
Skynet.
Could you be a little more subtle, please?
They're
actually calling it Skynet.
Yeah, its real name is Skynet. That's what it's called. I was like, you've got to be kidding. They're not even hiding anymore.
Man, that's crazy.
What was it you said the other day? The best place to hide something is in plain sight, right?
Yep. Always has been. That's I remember that from Sherlock Holmes books long, long ago. The purloin, or was it? It might have been. No, it had to be Sherlock Holmes.
Somebody running a movie projector?
No, that might be my computer though. I think it's noisy, which ain't a good sign.
Uh-oh.
Need to get one and get it cloned before it's too late.
But we're talking about Philip K. Dick.
Philip who?
Some of his story, that author Philip K. Dick. Some of his the Hollywood films based on his writings is Blade Runner, Minority Report, A Scanner Darkly, The Adjustment Bureau, The Man in the High Castle. I mean, these are
The Man in the High Castle.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all exactly what we're talking about. Either very prophetic, or their way of trying to warn us, or their way of putting it out like they have to do so they can say, well, see, we told you. That's part of the deal, the magic when they use it. They have to show it. So it could be any of the three. But he wrote these novels back in the 70s.
You know what I mean? That's not like he just wrote them a few years before it came into reality.
Oh, yeah,
He wrote it like 30, 40, 50 years before it became
exactly.
reality.
Yep. That's what's crazy.
This is Shifty Sunday.
But that's what I say. It still could be, because I believe anything we see now has been in the works for 40, 50 years.
Shifty
So
going
it
on.
still could be that they just had insight into inside information and were trying to warn people, or they were the ones that had to put it out so the magic would work, or it was prophetic. But
Right.
either way, they definitely knew something. There's no coincidences that all these stories we read as a child are now coming to fruition before our eyes. That's definitely.
Well, I think it's kind of like I think I think that both are true. I think that there was some level of him predicting the future. I think there's some level of it since it became out as a story. And everybody read the story. A lot of those were very popular books. So now it's in everybody's consciousness as a potential reality, which helps it become a reality. I think both things kind of help work hand in hand. You know what I mean?
That is a good point, dude. I mean, yes, exactly.
Highly possible. And that could be why they put it out there, to help
Exactly.
of consciousness in that direction.
So what you're saying basically is we're projecting our own realities.
Well,
Well,
I
it's
would say
that's I mean, to a certain degree, that's what everybody does. I mean, if you put out positive consciousness towards your life, you're going to have a much more powerful, positive life than if you're sitting there consistently putting out a negative consciousness toward the every day that you face. Then you're going to face a lot more adversity, and your life isn't going to turn out nearly as well. I mean, and there's everything in the middle too. I mean, there's a million shades of gray in between all that. Do you guys disagree?
Oh,
No. I agree. I was waiting for Heber to talk. I didn't want to step on him. No, I agree. It all could be possible because, I mean, even if you look at it spiritually, like I do, we are co-creators. I mean, Father made us in His image, and His image is a creator, and that's sort of why Lucifer got mad in the first place, because we were creators and they weren't. So
he got jealous.
Yeah, he got jealous. Pride was in it, and so I don't think it's on the light and love level where I can create my own reality if I think on it hard enough. I don't think it's quite that on that level, but I do think if they can get a collective a certain way, as a big process, we can affect it. You know what I mean? That's why
to a certain degree,
everyone to learn what they're supposed to be doing for the Father, because we need them in the fight, because the more that's on our side fighting, the better chance we got. Because right now, whether people realize it or not, by what they're thinking and what they're perceiving, you're either helping the Father, the good side or the bad side. There's no in between. Whether you mean to or not, every thought you have feeds one or the other. It's that simple. Spiritual.
Right.
So if they can get you thinking the wrong way, it don't matter whether you know you're working for the enemy or not. You are. You see what I'm saying? Because you're not thinking the right way. There is only two ways, right and wrong. So if they can just get you thinking the way they want you to think, with all the fear, we was mentioning all the fear, that's why they push the fear. That's why they put out these and books, in my opinion, but one of the reasons. So, yeah. And in that way, a group consciousness can create a reality, more or less. It's what I think anyway.
The fear mongering is how they get you. It's how they get you to stay indoors, and how they get you to not live your life, or to not want to go to one place or another, and not to do this or not to do that. That's not what God wants us to do. He wants us to live our lives and to live good, full lives. He doesn't want us to live in constant fear that this or that's going to happen to us once we step outside that door. He wants us to fight that fear. We have certain fears, yeah, and that's healthy to an extent, but when it starts getting unhealthy is when you're worried about going outside because you might get bit by a virusy mosquito, or you're worried that you go to the movie theater and you might get shot, or you're worried about going to the grocery store because you might get poisonous spinach or one thing or another. You can't live in that constant state of fear your whole life. And you got to get out there and live your life, because otherwise you're not living life. You're just living. You're just breathing, eating, and sleeping, and not living life to the fullest. And God wants us to live life to the fullest, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I totally agree.
I think I hear my crickets chirping outside.
I forgot. I was muted up, filling my coffee. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The minute you feel any fear, that's my whole point. If he can make you feel fear, then you're on his side, whether you mean to be or not, because there's no fear in Christ Jesus. Father don't deal with fear. Fear doesn't help his side. Fear has no part of the kingdom. So if the enemy can just get you thinking fearfully, then you've already lost. You're already on the wrong side. We can't use you in this battle. We love you, but you're not helping. You know what I'm saying? You're of no use to the Father. None. Because there is no fear. We ain't afraid of anything. I ain't afraid of nothing. Trust me. I'm not just saying, I don't care. They say don't call out the demons and the devils. I call them out all the time. Bring it. I ain't afraid. Bring it all. You know what I mean? But they
So
won't.
what is
They're the chickens. They're the ones that's afraid. They're scared to death of us. Scared. They can't even come around it. They hate the light. They run from it.
Fear
I'm
leads
sure
to
you guys have heard
huh?
the
What did
Indian.
I hear?
Can you hear me?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. What?
Can
What?
you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. The old, it's kind of made its run around Facebook recently. The old Indian Cherokee Indian proverb. The old Cherokee is teaching his grandson about life. You know the one, where he
Where you
goes, a
feed the
fight.
wolves?
Yeah, he repeat the wood. A fight is going on inside me. He said to the boy, "It's a terrible fight, and it's between two wolves. One is evil. He has anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego." He continued, "The other is good. He is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The same fight is going on inside you and inside every other person, too." And the grandson thought about it for a minute and then asked grandfather which wolf will win. And the old Cherokee simply replied, "The one that you feed." But I mean, it's not like you don't ever have everybody deals with both of those, the everybody deals with those, all of those emotions. It's not like you can consistently only feed that one wolf as much as you would like to. Those other ones have a way of creeping in, when you're dealing with life. But it's not about if you ever have those other negative um, moments. It's about which ones you allow to be the most consistent, and the ones that you give the most, that you give the most. What's the word I'm looking for? Like attention to. You know what I mean? Like I have plenty of things that I need to that I regret. And I have lots of self pity. I have plenty of things that I can feel guilty about. Resentment finds its way into creeps into my mind every so often. There's times when I feel inferior. I can't tell you how often you're tempted to just tell not necessarily a lie, but maybe not the whole truth, or admit certain parts of parts of the story out of convenience. I mean, false pride, superior. Those are all things that we really truly have to deal with, that creep into our mind, and are obstacles we have to face. But the only way you're going to overcome them is by giving them more strength through the love, the hope, the serenity, the humility, the kindness, and the benevolence. I mean, I know it's all in the Father's teaching, but it's just one of those things where a story like this is good at reminding somebody of how to kind of self-correct themselves on a daily basis, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also goes to show that, oh, probably no way to say this without upsetting some people, so the heck with it. But it goes to prove that even the old Indian sayings and proverbs taught about Jesus. You know what I'm trying to say? Because that's exactly what Jesus taught. Take every thought captive, keep your eyes on the things above, focus on the joy, the love, word for word. That is what Jesus taught. It was just spoken in a way that the Indian understood back then. So
Right.
Jesus is in everything. And that's why people don't understand when I say, well, Jesus doesn't care if you use his name. There's power in his name. Don't get me wrong. If you use it, you're smart because there's lots of power in it. But you just do what he says. Them Indians never had to call on the name of Jesus to follow Jesus. They were following him. They were teaching what he taught and doing what he said, whether they realized it or not. And that's the way with a lot of different things. That's why I don't necessarily argue with people about what they believe, because as long as their belief is getting them to follow Jesus, whether they want to admit it or not, I don't care. You know what I mean? I know the Father knows their heart, and I know he's following.
It's a different messenger. It's the same message.
Same message. And that's what's important, the message. Jesus made that quite plain. Yes, his name's awesome. It's powerful. I use it. I love it. It's all about him to me. But you can follow him and never know his name. And that's why people say, well, what about the tribe in Africa that never heard the name of Jesus? How are they going to be saved? Because they're following him.
Yep.
They're following him. They're doing everything he told them to do. Whether they they're following him.
I remember the first time I had that thought, like somewhere out there, there's a deserted island, and they've never even heard of the Bible. It's never made it to their island. This tribe's don't even know it exists, but they still have a conscience, and they still know right from wrong, and they still know good from evil.
Right. The laws are still written in their heart. Father wrote his laws in all our hearts. We just have a book that we seem to think contains it all. And I'm not even going to get in that debate. The book is awesome. I love the book. I read the book all the time. I do readings from the book on my channel. Love the book. But
I mean, even a 5 or 6 year old kid, he knows when he's doing something he shouldn't be doing. He feels sorrow. He feels regret as soon as he realizes he did something wrong. You don't need a mom or a dad to come tell him, hey, that's bad. You shouldn't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. We all know Father wrote his laws in our hearts. Man turned it into a book and turned it into a religion. It's in our hearts. We know.
That's what I was trying to say. I think I said it on about 6 or 7 programs ago. I think I brought up the question, and I think I brought it up to you, Armor, about people who are from different tribes and around different parts of the world. Like, I think my wife brought it up to her mom at one time, said, because her mom was saying, well, those tribal people, those are heathens, they're going to hell and this and that. And she's like, well, Mom, those people have never been taught about Jesus and stuff like that. How are they going to hell if they don't even have the knowledge They don't even have the knowledge about Jesus. And also, if they're good people, why would they just automatically just go straight to hell? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, like I believe, which is very controversy to what a Christian believes, but I don't care. You know what I mean? I think they do know Jesus. They just don't know him by that name.
This isn't wide
That's my
enough.
point. They follow Jesus. They learn the same things Jesus taught us.
Get on.
They just don't call him by that name. And I personally don't think Jesus cares about that name as much as we want people to think he does.
See.
There's power in the name of Jesus. There's also power in the name of Yeshua. And who knows what other power. But personally, I like Jesus. I use Jesus. But
Get.
I worry about you following him. I don't care what you call him. Follow him. Just get to know him and do what he tells you to do. That's the important thing.
Sorry, I'm trying to use this as an avatar, but I have to hold it. I have to hold it because my camera's up too high.
Well, good point, Euler, Greg. And I don't think that it's so much that the Father provides more than a single path to Jesus. I think it's more that Jesus is more than one path to people, if you know what I'm trying to say. I think he came to us in that way. I think Jesus himself said, I have other sheep of other folds who you do not know. Now, most people think that verse, because he was talking to Jews, meant the Gentiles. Possible. I see how you get that. But I think it meant way more than that. I think it meant he had totally other people that they did not know. They knew the Gentiles. But who knows? It's way beyond our understanding. But I just believe, like the Indian legend, if they did that, lived that, and fed the right wolf, then they were following Jesus, because it's the exact same thing he told us to do. Dwell on the love, the joy, the hope, the forgiveness, the peace. The exact same teaching Jesus gave to us is perfectly summed up in that Indian teaching. That's all I'm saying.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, that's basically the eternal struggle, isn't it? That's what everybody has to deal with. That's what everybody's life is basically battling those elements.
Yep, absolutely. That's what it boils down to. That's what it's all about. That's the whole fight. That's what we were just talking about. You're feeding one side or the other, whether you mean to or not. You can either feed this wolf or that wolf. Feed the kingdom or feed the enemy. However
And the
you
one that gets the most food wins, becomes the strongest wolf.
the
Yeah.
most is the one that's going to control you. It's that
Yep.
simple. So you either feed the Father's kingdom by focusing on above and not below, by loving your neighbor as yourself, by trusting in the Father with your full heart, mind, and soul, all of that, or you don't. There's no in between. It's that simple. Either you do or you don't. You feed the good wolf or the bad one, however you want to say it. And if you don't like the term wolf because of indoctrination, well, then say lamb. You know what I mean? Wolf triggers people. I get it. I know all about the indoctrination. Crickets. I thought someone was taking over. Muted up.
I'm trying to look something up. I apologize.
He's too busy playing with his icons over there. He-Man. Yeah, okay. Whichever lion you feed the most. There you go. Oh, answered wolf or lion. Sorry, Whaler Greg. But I figured people would get triggered if I said wolf enough.
There we go.
It was definitely lion, not wolf.
There we go.
No wolf.
Sorry about that. I couldn't click my unmute button because the book was in the way. I was trying to figure out a good icon to put up there. At first, I had the Mr. Clean icon, and I didn't mean to do it, but while you were talking, I was kind of giggling a little bit because the Mr. Clean icon just looks too silly. So I believe, here's what I believe, and you haven't said all that. I'll put a cap on it and after this, but however you believe is how you believe. But however you can get the word out, however it is, doesn't matter how you get the word out. It could be through the news, through the radio, your favorite song, your favorite television series. It don't matter. However, the word has to get out there and get out there. And the truth is in there somewhere. You can hear God's word through anything. I truly do believe that. And like I said, I heard God's word inside of Walmart, of all places. You know, it doesn't matter where you are, who you are, what walk of life you're in, what path you're going down. You can always hear the word of God, in my opinion.
Yep, and I guarantee you from experience, Father always meets you wherever you're at. And that's all through the Bible. That whole Bible is about him meeting us where we're at. So Father will meet you wherever you're at and use whatever you understand to teach you about himself. It's that simple. I don't care where you're at in the world, whether you're in Mambia or Ireland or Pennsylvania or Canada. Father will meet you exactly where you are and use exactly what you need to understand exactly who he is. It's that simple. We just got to listen and pay attention.
Where did old Sadgie go? I was wanting to hear one of his. Does he have a?
I'm
He's
here.
looking something up, but Lorraine wants to know what you heard in Walmart. She's asking in the chat.
Oh boy, that's kind of a long story, but I'm more than happy to share it. Sure. Oh boy. Well, it's not as vivid as it was when it's not as fresh as it was when it happened to me, and it's not as easy to tell because it's not as the message. I don't know how to explain this. Do you know what where I'm getting at? It's like once it's there, and then once it happens to you, it kind of automatically leaves you.
Well, I mean, is it there enough that you can retell it?
Oh, I could retell it, but it's
Well, yeah. Well, let's
I know
hear your best recollection. But
I
we
know.
understand that it's not the same. You're not going to be able to do it as much justice as you could have at the moment. What you're trying to say.
at the moment when it happened, because okay, so anyway, I was at Walmart and I come across this person, and this woman had this little kid. I can't tell that the kid was 2, maybe 3 years old, 3 or 4. I knew it was definitely older than. It wasn't like it was like a little baby or anything, but it was like 3 or 4 years old, I guess, and that you could tell right away it had some problems wrong with it and stuff. Not wrong with it, but I mean, it had difficulties, and something. Well, now I can confirm that it was the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit not touched me, but the Holy Spirit guided me over to that person and wanted that person to know that God loved her. God loved her. So I went over and touched her on the shoulder, and I said, I said, God loves you and God blesses you too. Also, I said that, and then I just walked off. I didn't say anything more than that, just those 2 words. And then all of a sudden, as I walked off, not too long after I walked off, I just felt this uncontrollable urge overwhelming urge to just start crying. And I felt this, I don't know really exactly how to explain it, except to say that it was sadness and happiness both at the same time. And at the time, I thought I was feeling the happiness of the mother and sadness of the mother, because she was, as much as she loved this child, she was struggling um, with taking care of him, and that. But then I don't think that that's what the feeling was. I don't think I was feeling her. I think I was feeling God's love, and I think I was feeling His sadness, because God does get sad when He sees, because He loves children, and He loves us all, but I mean He loves children especially, and He sees one of them hurting, or one of them in bad shape, or whatever the case may be, you know, you get sad or whatever. But I think that's what I was feeling. I had this uncontrollable urge to cry, and I could not stop it, no matter how much I tried, no matter how much and usually that's not the case. Usually I could stop, I can just like control my emotions pretty well. I know right there in the middle of the store, I'm breaking down crying. Well, I'm not going to start breaking down crying in the middle of Walmart. I mean, who the heck wants to do that? Who wants to be, obviously I didn't want to be caught doing that,
There's no crying in Walmart.
Right. There's no crying in Walmart.
It's got a smiley face, not a sad face.
So that's basically what happened in a nutshell. And, there was no other explanation for it other than I was touched by the Holy Spirit. That's the only way. That's the only way I could describe it.
I mean, I think we all have had moments like that. I can think of moments where I felt that kind of feeling, and it's a special moment. It's one of those things that stick with you for a long time, Can you hear me?
Well,
Yep.
I hear you, but I just don't think that's the same thing. If you had that moment, that's great, but I
I
don't
mean,
know.
what I'm saying is a moment when you feel like you're feeling God's love or the Father's love,
Oh,
or He's.
yeah. Yeah, I got you. Okay. Yeah. You've had a moment, share it with us.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to think of an example right off the top of my head, and I'm struggling with it. I guess the closest thing that I can think of to something like that is, when my own kids were younger, some of the things that when just like I remember, like for instance, my daughter coming home from school, crying, saying that she don't have any friends, nobody likes her, all the girls are being mean to her, blah 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 blah. Um, I don't know. She's probably in second or third grade, and um, she she really was just feeling like a social outcast at her school, and I was like, well, I mean, maybe you're just not, you're not, I tried to explain to her that maybe they just don't know you well enough. Maybe you're not. You need to start, showing them who you are. Share your personality. Don't be afraid to say your opinion. Don't be afraid to, when they're all getting together, to go play on the playground or go do whatever it is they're doing as a group together, and involve yourself. Don't let the fact that they're not asking you to join stop you from joining. Put yourself out there more. And then I don't know, it was probably 2 or 3 months later, she was going to she had been going to dance lessons, at a dance studio, and came home from school and she told me to do a she wanted to enter the talent show, and she had a friend that was going to do a dance with her. And they were going to self choreograph a dance and do it for the talent show. And I was like, wow. I was like, you're really taking the bull by the horns here, you know? Like that's a lot. Are you sure you're up to all that? And she's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I helped her find a song. And I recorded it for her, and I, put it on a cassette back when we still had tapes. And I remember going to the talent show, and she was so excited. And when her friend doesn't show up, so now she's all by herself, and like the whole class is there. The gymnasium is full, and it's just her and her dad in this cassette tape and her dance. And she was so tempted. I would have totally understood if she would have lost the courage to even go do it by herself, but she did it. And when she got done, I just remember everybody stood up and applauded for her, I saw the joy and the appreciation of like the whole class, her whole class, and everybody in her school clapping for her, gave her such a great feeling, and it really just showed me right there. Like I really felt like she felt like I knew that from that point forward, she probably never would feel that way again, and it was just such a great feeling as a dad to watch it happen.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, awesome.
Thanks for sharing that with us, man. That's amazing. By the way, have you ever seen Napoleon Dynamite?
Yes.
That kind of when you were telling that, I kind of had a flashback of Napoleon Dynamite where he puts on the cassette tape and he doesn't really care. He's kind of the secluded. He's kind of the recluse, like you're talking about, and it kind of reminded me of all that. But that's neither here nor there. I was just saying what it kind of reminded me of. But go ahead, Armor. I know you had something to add to that.
No, not really. That was awesome, though. Great story.
So, do you guys want to share the? Oh man, I got loud. Share the
For sure.
the math problem that is breaking the internet. You guys remember Yanni and Laurel and the color of the dress?
Yep.
Is somebody able to put the math problem on the screen for the audience? And who's in chat? Who do we got? Armor.
We didn't even do a shout out yet.
No.
I know, right? We're slipping, aren't we?
We're slipping bad. Let me pop up the participant list. Oh, we only got a couple on the list. I might have to go to the live. We got Lorraine Lamore, Eddie Von Keen with a wrench, Oiler Greg. Michelle's Opinions is here with a wrench. I know I seen Jesse earlier and Jenny Pertee. Jocko R, of course, is here with a wrench. I think that's everybody. At least that's
all right.
It's talked
recently. So we got just a little bit more than a handful out there.
Yep. Oh, Raising Zane just popped in. Hi, Raising Zane.
Cool.
See Raising Zane.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a cool name.
You want to share it, Hebrew, or you want me to pop it up?
You go ahead and pop it right on in there, brother.
Well, how did I know he was going to say that?
Well, first of all,
Well, basically, while he's getting it set up, I'll kind of give you the gist of it.
Give us the layout.
Yeah, it's a simple math equation. However, people are coming up with two different answers. I'm not going to tell you the answers. I'm going to let chat participate and see what answers they come up with. And I mean, it's like the whole I don't know if you guys remember if you heard Yanni or Laurel or the dress is red or green or blue, but it's basically one of those where some people are coming up with one answer for this math problem, and they're adamantly, in the comment section saying that this is the right answer. And then people are making a strong argument for the other answer as well. So I thought it would be interesting to share it with our chat room and to see what answers they come up with. And then I'll divulge the official explanation that is, according to the New York Times, because they're covering this phenomenon, I guess, for lack of a better word. and they kind of broke it down as to which one may be the conventional answer, the more conventional answer versus the other conventional answer.
All right, Hebrew, I'm screen sharing, but I think you have to do something to allow me on that end.
Oh my gosh. Hold on, I was way over there. Okay. I'm not being very professional here, am I? Okay, let me reach around my book stack here.
It's Shifty Sunday. They expect no professionality from this show.
All right.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to let them down with a whole bunch of professionalism.
Yeah. Don't start something, then they'll expect it every week.
Screen share. Okay, let me push this button. Wait, no, that's
got to allow me or something. I'm not sure.
That's not it. Son of a gun. Son of a gun.
Well, maybe you can just type it into chat there, Armor. I mean,
Yeah, that would be easier, I guess. It ain't that hard. Okay.
Yeah, it ain't like it's a picture or something. Chest is hurting.
All right, where's the divided by thing on a keyboard?
over by the numbers, I think, by the number pad.
Okay. Well, it ain't quite a divided by symbol, but that's strange. My keyboard has no divided by symbol.
There's probably a way to do it. I'd have to look it up. Like you hold shift and press a certain key and it makes it for you, you know?
Oh, man.
Yeah, you probably just got to click my name or something. There's a way to let me screen share because Dan did it, but I don't know how.
Oh, he did?
I wasn't on that.
Well, I'm not going to let him show me up. Let's see here.
Well, yeah, the slash is a divided by, but
remove stream. No, I don't want to do that. Solo layout. What's that?
They know slash is divided by, so we'll.
Oh,
I tell you what, why?
There you go.
Okay.
Can you do it from there?
Well, I should be sharing it though. Why is it not showing up? That's weird.
That is weird.
Look, are you able to just bring it up?
Look. Wait, here it is. Ha. Yes, sir. There you go.
There we go. Yep, there it is. There's the math problem.
All right, guys. Whoever's in chat, go ahead and throw out your best answers and then did you solve it? Hebrew, do you have an answer? I know Armor.
Don't say it out loud yet, though.
Yeah, don't say it out loud.
I'm just gonna go with Armor's answer if that's okay.
Well, no, don't say it out loud though.
No, I'm not.
Don't say it.
I know that.
Okay. Well, it sounded like you're about to.
No. Ooh.
So far, we got Eddie Von Keem with a 1, Lorraine Lamore with a 1. Still waiting on a couple others.
And it even goes so far as people were screen sharing what their calculator came up with, and even the calculators were coming up with 2 different answers.
Really?
Michelle's got a 16.
We have a 16.
Raising Zane got a 16, so we're 50-50 in the chat at the moment.
All right. Well, it sounds
just like yep.
That's what the results I was expecting.
Eddie says 16, no way.
See, that's what happens. People say no way. There's no way it's 16.
And 16. Jocko broke the tie, so the 16s are 3-2 in the chat room.
All right, and okay, go ahead. What was your answer, Armor?
My answer was 1. So
I came up with 16.
So
before I looked at the answer, I came up with 16. So right now, which one's winning by 1?
Well, if you're 16, then you guys take the lead 4-3.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to read the New York Times article to everybody for what it's worth so you guys can get
Lorraine's
Okay.
saying what you said earlier.
Yeah, Lorraine's, yep, says exactly what I said when we was talking about it. You always do the parentheses first. That's just common math.
Right.
But that
All
isn't
right.
what throws it off. But go ahead. It'll
All
explain.
right. So when confronted with the 8x2, um, parentheses 2 plus 2 in parentheses, everyone on Twitter agreed that the 2 plus 2 in parentheses should be evaluated first. That's what our teachers told us. Deal with whatever is in parentheses first. Of course, 2 plus 2 equals 4. So the question boils down to 8 divided by 2 times 4. And there's the rub. Now that we're faced with a division and a multiplication, which one takes priority? We carry out the division if we carry out the division first, we get 4 times 4 equals 16. If we carry out the multiplication first, we get 8 divided by 8 equals 1. So which way is correct? The standard convention holds that multiplication and division have equal priority. To break the tie, we work from left to right, so the division goes first, followed by the multiplication. Thus, the right answer is 16. But more generally, the conventional order of operations is to evaluate expressions in parentheses first. Then you deal with any exponents. Next come multiplication and division, which, as I said, are considered to have equal priority with ambiguities dispelled by working from left to right. Finally, come addition and subtraction, which are also equal priority, with ambiguities broken again by working from left to right. So to help students in the United States remember this order of operations, teachers drill the acronym PEMDAS, PEMDAS, into them. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Other teachers use an equivalent acronym, BODMAS, BODMAS, brackets, orders, division, and multiplication, and addition, and subtraction. Still others tell their pupils to remember the little ditty, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So now realizing following Aunt Sally is purely a matter of convention, in that sense, PEMDAS is arbitrary. Furthermore, my experience as a mathematician, expressions like 8 divided by 2 times 4 looks absurdly contrived. No professional mathematician would ever write something so obviously ambiguous. So we would insert parentheses to indicate our meaning and to signal whether the division should be carried out first or the multiplication. So basically, it boils down to if you chose to use PEMDAS or BODMAS as your conventional way to solve the problem. So since there is no since the 8 by 2 times 4 doesn't have parentheses on either one, both answers are technically correct, depending on if you chose to use BODMAS or PEMDAS. So
Yep.
I just thought that would be a fun little thing to do with the chat. So no matter which answer you chose, as long as you got 16 or 1, you passed the math test.
Yep, absolutely. And it's wild that we got both answers. I thought that was pretty cool.
That was a kind of a long, wordy explanation, but I felt like it was well worded, so I figured I would just read it.
Yes, sir.
So I hope I didn't bore everybody to death.
No. That was.
It's pretty cool.
All right, so I do have a story for you guys if you're wanting to hear one.
Woo!
Story time with Saji, my favorite part of the show.
I know you should cue up the story time with Sagic theme music.
Yeah,
Where
the
is
theme
it?
music? It's transvestite story time. Oh, wait a minute. That's wrong. Wrong show. I thought I was at the library. Not funny. Not funny at all. Something.
Yeah, by this time next week, I expect you to have story time with Sag theme music queued up, ready to go.
I can have transvestite.
No. I want something good and catchy It
Okay.
makes the
Ready.
audience ready to hear the news, ready to hear the story of the week. So,
You-
since we were talking about the wolves earlier, I
Lamb.
chose feeding which wolf? Which wolf to feed? Remember?
Yeah, I know. I'm just go
Oh,
ahead.
okay. Yeah. Okay, I'm with
I'm
you.
sorry.
All right. So anyway, this story is called "The Dog," and it's by Banjo Patterson. Um, it's a semi-popular short story. I doubt anybody's heard it. I have never heard of it, but I'm going to read it nevertheless. All right, you guys ready?
I'm always ready for story time with Sage.
All right. The dog is a member of society who likes to have his day's work, and who does it more conscientiously than most human beings. A dog always looks as if he ought to have a pipe in his mouth and a black bag for his lunch, and then he would go quite happily to the office every day. A dog without work is like a man without work, a nuisance to himself and everybody else. People who live about town and keep a dog to give the children hide-a-tids and to keep the neighbors awake at night, imagine that the animal is fulfilling his destiny. All town dogs, fancy dogs, show dogs, lap dogs, other dogs with no work to do should be abolished. It is only in the country that a dog has any justification for his existence. The old theory that animals have only instinct, not reason, to guide them is knocked endways by the dog. A dog can reason as well as any human being on some subjects and better on others. And the best reasoning dog of all is the sheepdog. The sheepdog is a professional artist with a pride in his business. Watch any drover's dogs bringing sheep into the yards, how thoroughly they feel their responsibility, and how very annoyed they get if a stray dog with no occupation wants them to stop and fool about. They snap at him and hurry off, as much to say, "You go about your idleness. Don't you see this is my busy day?" Sheepdogs are followers of Thomas Carlyle. They hold that the only happiness for a dog in this life is to find his work and to do it. The idle, dilettante, non-working aristocrat dog they have no use for. The training of a sheepdog for his profession begins at a very early age. The first thing is to take him out with his mother and let him see her working. He blunders lightheartedly, frisking along the front of the horse, and his owner tries to ride over him, and generally succeeds. It is amusing to see how that knocks all the gas out of a puppy, and with what a humble air he falls to the rear and glues himself to the horse's heels, scarcely daring to look to the right or the left for fear of committing some other breach of etiquette. He has had his first lesson to keep behind the horse until he is wanted. Then he watches the old. I'm just going to. I'm not going to use the word, but it's a derogative name. Work and is allowed to go with her around the sheep. And if he shows only any disposition to get out of hand and frolic about, the old lady will bite him sharply to prevent his interfering with her work. By degrees, slowly, like any other profession, he learns his business. He learns to bring sheep after a horse simply at a wave of a hand, to force the mob up to the gate where they can be counted or drafted, to follow the scent of a lost sheep and to drive sheep through a town without any master, one dog going on ahead to block the sheep from turning off into the streets while the other drives them on from the rear. How do they learn all of these things? Dogs for show work are taught painstakingly by men who are skilled in handling them. But after all, they teach themselves more than the men teach them. It looks as if the acquired knowledge of generations were transmitted from dog to dog. The puppy, descended from a race of sheepdogs, starts with his faculties directed toward the working of sheep. He is half educated as soon as he is born. He can no more help working sheep than a born musician can help being musical, or a Hebrew can help gathering in shekels. It is bred in him. If he can't get sheep to work, he will work a fowl. Often and often one can see a collie puppy painstakingly and carefully driving a bewildered old hen into a stable or a stockyard or any other enclosed space on which he has fixed his mind. How does he learn to do that? He didn't learn it at all. The knowledge was born with him. When a dog has been educated or has educated himself, he enjoys his work. But very few dogs like work. In the yards, the sun is hot, the dust rises in clouds, and there is nothing but to do but bark, 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 which is all very well for learners and amateurs, but is beneath the dignity of a true professional sheepdog. When they are hoarse with barking, they nearly choked with dust. The men lose their tempers and swear at them and throw clods of earth at them and sing out to them, "Speak up, blast you." Then the dog suddenly decides that they have done enough for the day. Watching their opportunity, they silently steal over the fence and hide in a cool place they can find. After a while, the men notice that hardly any are left, and operations are suspended while a great hunt is made into an outlying pieces of cover, where the dogs are sure to be found lying low and looking as guilty as so many thieves. A clutch at the scruff of the neck, a kick in the ribs, and they are hauled out of the hiding places and accompany their masters to the yard, frolicking about and pretending that they are quite delighted to be going back, and only hid in those bushes out of sheer thoughtlessness. He is a champion hypocrite, is the dog. Dogs, like horses, have very keen intuition. They know when men around them are frightened, though they may not know the cause. In Great Queensland Strike, when the shearers attacked the Durnt Dagworth shed, some rifle volleys were exchanged. The air was full of human electricity, each man giving out waves of fear and excitement. Mark now the effect it had on the dogs. They were not in the fighting. Nobody fired at them, and nobody spoke to them. But every dog left his master, left the sheep, and went away to the homestead about 6 miles off, where there wasn't a dog about. In the shed the next day after the fight, the noises of the rifles had not frightened them because they were well accustomed to that. The same thing happened constantly with horses in a South African war. A loose horse would feed contentedly while our men were firing, but then our troops were being fired at. The horses became uneasy, and the loose ones would trot away. The excitement of the men communicated itself to them. Dogs have an amazing sense of responsibility. Sometimes when there are sheep to be worked, a dog has young puppies, may be greatly exercised in her mind whether she should or should not go out. On the other hand, she does not care about leaving the puppies. On the other, she feels that she really ought to go rather than allow the sheep to be knocked about by those learners. Hesitantly, with many a look behind her, she trots out after the horses and the other dogs. An impassioned appeal from the head boundary rider, "Go back home, will ya?" is treated with the contempt it deserves. She goes out to the yards, works perhaps half the day, and then slips quietly under the fences and trots home contented. And that's it. That wasn't the greatest story ever. I didn't get a chance to read the whole thing before I shared it, but I hope you guys liked it.
It was interesting.
I like it, but I gotta say one thing though.
All right.
The transvestites that were expecting a transvestite story is going to be awfully upset. They didn't get
Well,
one.
yeah. Well, I'm really terribly sorry about that. Maybe I'll find one just for you.
Oh, he said just for you is in me.
Oh yes, he definitely was talking to you.
Uh,
Well, you seem to be the most excited about it.
you two.
If the high heeled shoe fits, wear it.
Last night, God's armor made a crack about me being a woman too.
What? When? Where?
Yeah, last night.
I don't recall.
What was it we were talking about? I said something about we were going to do a show or something.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were going to be the woman. I forget. Yeah. I
But
forget what we was talking about there.
Yeah.
When you guys were talking earlier, I read that first paragraph, and it seemed like it was going to be a really good article or a story. I didn't get more than the first couple paragraphs. So
Actually, if you think about it, it sort of brought up interesting points, such as, what would it be called? Passing on your memory, knowledge. Like it was saying, a sheepdog's born to herd sheep. It's just in him because his parents
yeah,
herded sheep and their parents herded sheep, and the better the bloodline, the better the inborn. I mean, that's sort of interesting to think about. You know what I mean?
yeah, and especially when he made it to the comparison about like the next musical human, the next human
Yeah, exactly.
musical prodigy. When he's born, he doesn't know a lick of music, but he still got it inherent in him that he's going to be able to learn it quite easily.
Yeah. But see, that's what's weird. Although sheepdog, it's more hereditary. Your next prodigy, I mean, their parents may know nothing about music. You see what I'm saying? Or their grandparents or anyone in their family that they ever known of. Yet
Well,
they,
not only that, they could have maybe been prodigies, but they never took the time to learn music. Had they done it,
true,
maybe they would have
very
been
true.
too.
That's true. Never thought of it that way. But interesting nonetheless. Just it made me think of those kind of things. So pretty cool.
Well, this is the call-in show, gentlemen. So,
Or we want to put a number out.
I don't think you can keep a prodigy down.
Hold on.
anybody wants to call in tonight has the opportunity to do
It
so.
should work. We'll be testing it with the new system. So it should work. Who wants to be a guinea pig? I mean, who wants to be our first call?
I had to take that stuff down from my screen because I couldn't see my screen.
Yeah.
So, Ghostbusters! Just saying.
You know, I think we should get the old Fractured Fairy Tales theme music for story time with Saji. Just my suggestion.
I was thinking more like along the lines of the Mr. Rogers when he would go to Pretend Land.
Oh, yeah, that would work. But Fractured Fairy Tales is more a reading.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's the Fractured Fairy Tales. Do you remember Fractured Fairy Tales?
I do not. I think Saji does.
Mr. Peabody and Sherman, and
Oh,
they always had the Fractured Fairy Tales.
yeah. Good old Mr. Peabody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to love watching those when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah, I loved Fractured Fairy Tales. They were always funny.
They're all still talking about the math question.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Hey, there's Prelim. He popped in the room. Hey, we got a number up if anyone wants to call. I believe everything's open. If you're trying to call and can't get through, let me know. But I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they're welcome to call and
Hey,
discuss the math question if they want to as well.
Red Shirt Blues.
Good old Red Shirt Blues.
Said he was told there'd be no math. He's out.
You know, quite often the show either becomes a math show or a spelling show. Like, how was this word spelled? Or, you know, that's all of the that's all the Mandela effect anymore. Is I feel like I'm sitting I feel like I'm back at school again every time I watch a Mandela show or I'm a part of one. It's always a spelling bee.
Yeah, a lot of times. Well, almost every time, because, yeah, especially if it has to do with a product or a word itself. Or pretty much, unless it's a movie quote, it basically is spelling.
Yeah.
Mandela ruined math and spelling, Red Shirt Blue says. You got that right. I can't spell nothing anymore. I always get squigglies.
We gotta put it on mute. That's better.
We got no brave souls wanting to call. Oh, wait, we got a caller.
Cool.
812. You should be on the line.
Welcome to the Hebrew Show. You're on the line with Hebrew Armor Up. It's satirically speaking.
Oh, I can't hold them. Keep talking. Give me a minute to check my settings. Something's not right.
Oh, okay. Stay on the line, caller. He's getting it all worked out. Sagittariusly, you've been quiet for a while. What you got to say over there, sir?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right. I was on mute. I didn't realize it. I've been talking.
You've been talking and we don't even know it. So you ran out of things to say, huh?
Are you able to share that cheat sheet that I gave you?
Cheat sheet. Oh,
The Mandela effect cheat sheet?
No, sir.
Okay.
I'm not really sure why we can't hear the caller. It should be working.
Uh-oh. Do.
My settings, everything looks right. But I can see them trying to talk, but I can't hear them. Very strange.
Maybe it has to be put in here somehow. I mean, like how I have to.
Well, it shouldn't be. Either way, I should be able to hear them on my end.
That's true.
Hmm.
Now, this isn't OBS, Michelle. It's just Uber conference. But maybe I got something set wrong.
Raisin Zing said he sent you an email.
Oh, cool. It's a she, and I'll check it.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sure, caller, what's going on. I really don't know. I got everything running I should have running.
It's the new system.
Everything should be set the way it's set.
Is there a mute or unmute by chance?
I would think that'd be the first thing he would check.
Yeah, there is, but they're unmuted. Let me go through my settings real quick. Bear with us. Go ahead and talk amongst yourselves. I'll look around here. Stay on the line if you can.
Well, I was looking at the cheat sheet about this that they put out. I found this on Twitter, and I see one I didn't know before. Maybe you guys know it. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about Oliver Twist, where he says, "Please, may I have some more?" Apparently, he doesn't say that anymore.
What?
He says, "Please, I want some more."
No.
Well, that's what it's saying.
No. You ain't messing with me, Twist.
That's a twist, an Oliver Twist.
Not me, Oliver Twist. I like me, Oliver Twist, so much. And I do remember, sir, he says, "May I please have some more, sir?"
No, he says, "Please, may I have some more?"
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
May I please have some more?
You keep saying it wrong.
No, I just said it the way you told me to say it.
You got to say, "Please, may I have some more?"
Now, wait a minute.
I think I just heard someone.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Wow, I don't
Yes.
think I changed anything, but it's
barely.
They're faint, but I hear them.
Uh-huh. Uh-oh. We lost the caller.
I hear you, Lorraine, but you're very faint.
You know, I could do this from my phone. Just saying. I could set up the program. I can. Oh no, wait. I lost me Uber conference, and I don't.
Hold on. Can't you hear Lorraine talking? You guys are talking over her. Can you not hear Lorraine?
Can you hear me?
I heard her just now.
Hear me? Sounds like I'm talking to a submarine.
Yeah, you're really faint, but I hear you.
I hear her. How are you doing tonight, Lorraine? What's on your mind?
Go ahead, Lorraine. I think they can hear you.
Okay. All right. I'll start over. I work in a store, and this things that happened that may be shifty. A week and a half ago, a customer had gotten a product and walked up to self checkout. And then she said, "Oh, and it's a product is candy, chocolate covered raspberry." And then she said, "Oh, all these raspberry packages are melted together. You can feel it's all melted." And she said, "I'm going to go get a blueberry one." So she went back to the shelf and she got something, went back up to self checkout. And a minute later, she comes over and says, "Hey, all the raspberry ones are melted together. I'm going to get blueberry." So, you may want to notice all of these are melted. And I'm thinking, okay, if you already knew that the first time, why didn't you pick up the right product as you're heading up to did she, and it wasn't the exact same words or phrases that she used, but I'm wondering if that was the case where somebody, you know, did the same thing twice in a row, or I saw them do it twice in a row, and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that is kind of odd. It's as if the second time when she came back, it was as if she never had any recollection that she had already done it.
It seemed that way because if you already know that this flavor is melted and you don't want it, you're going to back to choose the other flavor. Why didn't you make sure to get the correct one? And
Right.
Right.
check out and then come and bring it to me and say, "Oh, this isn't. Yeah, all these are melted together. I'm going to get the other one." You just told me that. Oh,
Well,
it's weird. So
that's a little freaky. The fact that they
yeah,
walked up to
so
you twice and told you the same exact thing, that's strange.
yeah, and it wasn't the same wording, the exact like a repeat. It was just the same information and the same action.
Well, that's
So
even
it was
stranger
weird.
yet.
What?
I said, that's even stranger yet to me that it wasn't the exact same type thing. It was the same meeting and the same package and the same wording, but not the exact same phrase. That's very interesting.
Right. Yeah. So who knows what that was about? But I'm more on guard for this type of thing based on having listened to you guys in different podcasts. And months ago, one of the first times I called in on Dan's show was when my brothers, two of my brothers and I when we were kids, were playing in the living room, and we saw our mother walk through the living room and then very quickly walk through again. And we said, "Mom, did you just walk through here twice? Did you?" Because there was a second part of the room, behind the wall of the living room, there was a passageway she could have walked through. And we asked, "Did you just walk through there really fast and come back through?" She says, "No, I just walked through once."
Yeah, I
And we
think
were like,
I was on that show you called in.
What?
I said, yeah, I think I was on that show when you called in Dan's channel. I think that was a Saturday
Yeah.
show. I remember that.
Yeah, that was a very bizarre experience, and we didn't talk about it again because we knew she didn't know. It was just weird, and we didn't know what to do about it, so we didn't focus on it. We just kept living our lives. I also have a friend. I'm even gonna try to get her to call in one of these nights somewhere because she's had a few bizarre experiences. That's odd. So
Yeah, that would be up.
anyway, sorry. Yeah, well, I'll try to ask her to call in. She's got a very unusual thing that happened when she was a kid. It's hard to explain, but it's probably a shifting of timelines. That would explain it anyway. Well, anyway, that was it. Really, that's what I had.
Well, that's
All
awesome.
right.
Thanks for
Hey,
sharing.
what was your name again, caller? I'm sorry.
Lorraine.
It's
Lorraine.
Lorraine
Um,
Lamar.
Lorraine, let me ask you a question. Just because it's Shifty
Uh-oh.
Sunday, I want to see, with you being a caller, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you a couple state capitals to see how you remember them. Okay.
Oh.
What is to your best recollection? What is the capital of Tennessee?
Go ahead.
Are you there?
Here it is.
The capital of Tennessee.
Thing is nothing.
Did she say Nashville Armor? I couldn't hear.
I said I don't hear anything, and the capital of nothing is nothing.
You guys are both talking at the same time. So she's
Can you
not-
ask her, Armor?
Yeah, he said, what is the capital of Tennessee?
I don't know,
She don't know. She's not a geographer.
Knoxville or Nashville?
but I don't know what the capital is.
All right. I'll let you off the hook. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to put you on the spot.
Don't listen to him, Lorraine. Yes, he was.
New York is Albany.
There you go. New York's Albany. She knows that one.
Okay. Would you say Arizona is Flagstaff or Phoenix?
I don't know. I don't remember. And I've been through both. I stayed in Phoenix for a few days. But I wasn't looking for the capital. I just had a friend there.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember.
Did you enjoy?
School, I might have.
All right. Well, those are ones that come up a lot as far as the way people remember one. A lot of people remember them one way when actually it's a different way.
Okay. I wanted to also mention that when I heard Armor talk about this show, but I couldn't remember who was hosting it, and I had to search for it. And I've even looked, Armor, I looked at your site, your page, your channel, and I didn't see any notices. It might be helpful if you even just post a message.
Yeah, we just
I'm not aware of what the schedule is for this, the people who are networking through this group, these different groups.
we
It's
just
helpful to publish one.
we just changed it to 9 o'clock Eastern to make it a little bit later for people. And he normally does it every Sunday at 9 Eastern. But yeah, we'll try to
Okay.
somehow get a link. I can try to remember. I'll definitely put him on my recommended, like the channels that's beside on my page. You have the channels I recommend or whatever they call it. I'll make sure there's a link there at least to find his channel. But it's always over here on Hebreo's channel.
Yeah, Dan would put a message, like when he had to cancel a show, he had a message in the I think it was listed as communication. So that might be helpful.
Yeah, I think
that's what I wanted to say.
cool. I think they took away that communication thing though a couple times ago, if I remember right. Maybe not.
What? I still saw it there because I looked there too.
Oh, is it
I
still
saw it
there?
there today or
Cool.
yesterday. So
Yeah, I can even just put up a little video but I'll definitely make sure his channel's on the side where the other channels are, like Dan's, and I forget who all I got over there, but yeah.
okay.
But yeah, it's every Sunday at 9 Eastern on this channel. I know some bells, you can ring the bell and subscribe, but that don't always work. But yeah, it's every Sunday at 9.
Okay, good. Well, thank you. I'm gonna go. Have a great night, everyone.
Thanks a lot for calling, Lorraine.
You're
Thanks
welcome.
for
Here.
I was just gonna say thanks for calling, but she's already gone. But
She just left.
yeah, that was awesome. Always nice to have someone new watch the show and tune in. And she's not new. I mean, I've seen her quite a few times on Dan's show, but
Yeah, she's new to the channel. I like Lorraine. She's always interesting when she calls. And that's definitely trippy. I mean, think about it. he was a cashier and someone walked up and basically did the exact same thing they did a few minutes ago and act like it's the first time. That's strange.
It's almost kind of like the two realities almost like intertwined. Like here's a person in this reality, and then there's another person it's the same exact person, and it's like they're in another reality. And it's like those two realities just kind of collided to where they don't even the reason maybe they don't remember being up there the first time is because they weren't. It was the
And that's why it flipped me out when she said they didn't use the exact same words.
Uh-huh.
Because that sort of shows it couldn't have been the exact same person, although it was. You know what I mean? It sort of leans to more towards a different person, although it's the same person, because they use different words. They're not the exact same. Sort of strange. That's why I thought that part was very strange.
And that's why I have this theory that we have multiple reality. It's the multiple universe theory that I have, is that there's one of us in each universe, and each universe sometimes it's almost like we meet ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like we meet ourselves.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, there's moments of there's moments when they intertwine, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, that's what I meant. If you buy into the whole multiverse theory, which I kind of do, honestly I do in a way.
Well, actually, we got a couple good comments in chat. Let me read real quick. Vivian says it's sort of like what she was talking about on Dan's show the other night. I didn't see it, about Colorado and her son's double there at the same time from San Antonio. And then Euler Greg said about the dude, the looping people, or whatever you want to call it, what Lorraine just shared with us, that's our future normies, wolf people stuck in a constant loop while only the lion types can see it and function. That's an interesting concept. So
I do like that concept. I've always believed in that concept, even before I came across the Mandela effect way back in 2016 when I first came across it. I've always believed in the multi-dimensional realities and multiverses and stuff like that. I always found that interesting, because everyone has a double, or everyone says, you got a doppelganger is what they call it.
yeah,
And I always,
we've all heard. I mean, no matter where you're at in the U.S., it seems like everyone's heard that. You have a double somewhere. I mean, I've heard that in Pennsylvania growing up. You've obviously heard it.
yeah.
Interesting.
I remember one time my sister was telling me she saw me, and I don't know exactly where it was. It might have been Walmart, another Walmart story for you. And she said, like, I was doing something, went through the line or something. She was trying to talk to me, and she said, because that's why she called me. She had called me, said, "Why were you so so rude at me at Walmart earlier?" And blah blah blah. I said, "Well, I wasn't even at Walmart earlier. I've been in Kentucky all day. I don't even know what the heck you're talking about." So
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. Sort of the same type thing. We do have a caller, just so you know.
oh, okay.
All right, yeah.
I have him
Let's
muted
take
up
her.
at the moment, but if you're ready, I'll unmute him.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
We'll get that.
210, you're unmuted.
Hi, it's Vivian. I'm coughing a lot tonight because I was outdoors with my grandkids swimming today, and today's actually my first day without some stress, so it was a good day. Yeah, I was thinking about we were talking about. Thought maybe you heard the show, but I guess you didn't. I think it might have been Friday night, that I talked about it. But would you like me to tell you my little story?
Sure.
Okay, y'all, is there a delay?
No, I don't think so. I was typing in the chat. But yeah, that's why you're calling in to share. So
Yeah, we always want to hear what you have to share. We don't mind if you already shared it on Dan's channel. We are equal opportunity sharing channel.
As long as you don't hypnotize us, we're okay with anything you do. I hear crickets now. Sorry, I'll shut up.
I can't. Can y'all hear me at all?
I
Yeah,
hear
we
you.
can hear you.
We
You're a
all
little
hear you.
faint, but we can hear you.
I couldn't hear anybody. I couldn't hear anybody.
Well, we was all
That
talking.
was weird.
I even made a really bad joke. You didn't hear that?
Like after, that's strange. Anyway, so when back in January, when my son was 8,
Hello?
Colorado before he just moved back now. That's like just like 5 days ago, 6 days ago, he's been back. But so he moved up there, and on his way up, he had a hotel room booked, and for some reason, I couldn't find him at the hotel that I booked for him. To stay at first. So I called there and I was looking for him, and so then I started calling similar hotels that were in the area looking for him. And he has a specific name. It's not, a name that a lot of people have. His last name is his wife's name. So he took the Hispanic last name, and then he has like a, basic white boy first name, not nothing racial. I'm just saying, that's what's going on. And so I was calling around and I bumped into this lady who was she seemed like maybe one of those Asian women or something, and she was at a hotel that I called that I was kind of assuming maybe he had accidentally went to or something, not the one I paid for him to go to when he was first going down there. And she goes, I told her his name, and she says, oh yes, she says, I'm waiting for him. And she said, that, and I told her, well, he's my son, and he's coming from, she goes, yes, he's coming from San Antonio, and, and he had obviously told her that he was just divorcing his wife, that, that they were going through a divorce, that she left him after she had cancer. I mean, she knew a lot about my son, a lot. It was really weird. And she described that, he was, going to be there or whatever, and all he had told her. And it ended up not being him. It ended up being somebody that was the description, supposedly, I don't know if she had seen him or what was the deal, but she described my son, his thoughts and everything that he talked about in detail, and that he was going to work at, he was getting a job at Frito-Lay and all this kind of stuff. It was just weird. The whole thing was just off the wall. And then when I finally did find him, he goes, no, I'm not at that hotel. There's so much feedback, it's hard to talk. I don't know how to explain it. Everything I say, I hear like myself barking at myself on the phone. But, and I had that one experience that I'm pretty sure all y'all know about, which started me calling into Dan's show a few years ago, about the parking lot situation at the grocery store. Do you remember that? Do y'all remember where my car had switched colors?
Yep.
And okay,
I remember
well, I
that.
had an incident recently, not too long after that I wasn't sure. I'm trying to turn my volume down so I can't hear myself.
Vivian,
Yeah.
do you have a picture of this car when it changed from when it was what it was when
No,
it changed? No?
find the boy.
Oh,
But I did find the boy that witnessed it with me, and I have written him on Facebook now, and he has not responded.
I see.
And it was really weird how I found him, because most of the people up at HEB wouldn't tell me his last name. And I was walking about 2 or 3 months ago, which has been almost 3 years since that happened. Almost, 2 years or 3 years. And I was walking up to
What
with another bag boy the other day, and I started talking about the situation. He goes, "Oh yeah," he goes, "that was Jordan," and he gave me the guy's last name, and I don't remember it right this minute, but I've got it on my Facebook under Messenger, and so I wrote him right away and found him and recognized him and said, "Look, I didn't kind of tell him everything about the situation, but I said, I'm the lady that you met in the parking lot at HEB at O'Connor and Nacogdoches. And I've written 3 times, and it doesn't look like he's ever looked at his messages, nor has he, responded. So since I'm not on his phone, I don't know if it just goes to like another folder and he doesn't see it there. But I found out that he does work at the HEB on Austin Highway now. So I may be going over there not too long from now and trying to find him and check it out, But the interesting thing was when I spoke with Daniel from the store, first that was the kid that gave me the guy's name. But when I spoke with Daniel about maybe, it might have been 6-8 months ago, I spoke with this guy Daniel, and he told me, I'm the manager here. And he said that he thought I was I crossed into a different dimension. It was really weird. I didn't expect that from a manager at a store. And then he said, I work over at the one at Verde Road, or the one here, and you can always call me, and if I end up running into him, but I can't legally give you his name. He goes, but if I run into him, I'll let you know that I did. So I called the O'Connor Road store. I can't hear anything. Is somebody saying anything to me?
Nope, we're just listening to you.
Okay, because I cannot, I thought I could hear you, but I thought I heard Hebrew in the back, and I didn't want to be rude. So what was weird is when I called the store up and asked to speak to Daniel, they said they never had a Daniel there. What really threw me a loop, they said, there's no Daniel at this store, no manager Daniel. So I called over to the store at Verde, and they said there was no Daniel. And I thought, that's not true. I spoke to a manager named Daniel when this all went on. So I called back to the store, and I called back to, okay, let me not confuse y'all. I called the O'Connor Road store first, and he did not answer. They said that there was never a Daniel manager there. Then I called over to the Verde store, and they said there was never one that worked there. Then I called back the O'Connor Road store after sitting there and thinking this through and going, what is going on, And he answered the phone, and he said he was standing right by the phone, and he had been there all day. And that put a shock on me.
Yeah, that would be a trip.
Yep. So, I sometimes don't really think about, I don't get shook over the car situation anymore. I used to be all shook up over it, like what just happened. But I think that God was showing me stuff at the time about myself when I was younger that he wanted me to see to help me remember who I was prior to my children being born. And I think there was a purpose. What I'm trying to say, Armor, is there was a purpose for what happened to me.
Well, there's definitely a purpose for everything.
Yeah. It's been a tough few days. I'm telling y'all, it's been a tough few days. I felt like I was in a totally different dimension with my son coming here. And I don't know if y'all heard that I built a tiny house in my backyard, and I wasn't finished with it. I wasn't not even near finished getting it done. And then my son showed up with a lot of expectations. And I'm the type of person that will really push myself to accommodate everybody else. And so I went out there and I really overdid financially and overdid this week physically, and got that place livable. And it was a lot of money on my credit, and it was a lot of physical. And then my son, I felt, was being very disrespectful. And since his restroom part has not been completely set up, I really was kind of like in a rock and hard place and didn't really know what I was going to do. So I prayed about it, and I was not reacting well because I felt like he was very, rude. And then it was just really weird. I told him, well, you know what, you can just use the gate, go out and go to the corner store to go to the bathroom. And I thought it was my first boundary. And then after I set that boundary, it was really strange. My son today was just a lot more polite to me. Get it?
Yeah.
Like, I guess he needs to be able to use my bathroom, right? Until I'm done with the space. But by Monday, there'll be an install. I'm like, it's really difficult to go there because I know by now y'all already know I'm a softie. So I was, and today was a better day. He wasn't as rude to me today. So I felt like, oh my God, what dimension am I in? Have I gone back to when I was raising him? And, you know, so he's going to pay rent for the space. And so that's good. And then I have a tenant above me. So it'll all work out.
Cool.
But, sorry, I just thought I'd share. I've been under some stress.
That's what it's all
But,
about. Sometimes you just need someone to listen.
Yeah, thank you for putting up with our technical issues.
And for putting up with me.
Really weird.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on, but it is acting strange even on my end. I don't know.
It's Shifty.
I think I had everything set up right, but I don't know. There's a lot
Well,
of
we'll
you got to jump through to get this to
we'll
work.
just keep. Yeah, each week we'll get it a little bit better than it was the week before, I think.
It's more the voice thing that when I talk, I hear myself talk back, which has made me kind of weird while I'm talking, you know?
Yeah,
I'm
that's
already
strange.
kind of
I'm not
ready
getting
to
an
know
echo.
that, but
Are you guys getting an echo from her at all?
No,
No,
I wouldn't call it an echo. She just sounds a little distant, and I guess you could say like I hear a slight reverb,
yeah,
like
that's it.
it's not. Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, so
Viv, you there?
she was here today earlier, and, but, she has been just really, you know, somebody that in my life, she's really young, but she says that at school, the kids at her school that are like 10 years old and they're going in the 5th grade right now, but in the 4th grade when she was still in school, she's about to start again. She said that even her friends up at karate, the kids are noticing the changes. So she said it's confusing her with her schooling. Like when she's at school, the children will, and I heard that from another girl that is my son-in-law's sister's daughter is like was 17 at the time, but she told me this about a year or so ago, and she said that the kids in the high school were actually fighting with each other over things like Kit Kat Dash or not, and you know, and I told her don't get involved in the argument with it. Just know that I've come to the place where everybody is correct, because today Vera said she remembers Cheez-It, and she remembers Cheez-It as a Z and an S. Now that blew me away, because she goes, I pulled out a box of Cheez-It, and I don't even know how to say that. It doesn't sound right to me. I'm like, hey, y'all kids want some Cheez-It? You know, I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Here's some Cheez-It. Come and get some Cheez-It. You know, and so Vera goes, well, what do you mean Cheez-It? I said, well, it's Cheez-It. She goes, no, it's Cheez-It. And I said, how are you spelling that? And she said, Z. And then I told her, well, I remember Z and I remember an S. And she goes, oh my God. She goes, I remember both of them. So it was pretty interesting. And my grandson remembers, I think he said he remembers the Z.
Huh.
He was
That's
kind of
interesting.
like, she was on the show and I wasn't. He's only 6 years old. And trust me when I say I'm not pushing this towards them. They're the ones bringing it more up to me. You know, they're the ones that notice them, and sometimes they'll tell me a mental effect. You know, and I'll go research it, or they'll say something to me about a change, and I'll research it and be like, oh my God, that's true. You know, so.
Vivian,
Can you hear me?
Uh-huh. I can hear you now.
do you remember Cheese Whiz?
I do.
Cheese Whiz has got the same thing, and it's got the Z cheese, Cheez, and then the Whiz. I think Whiz was Wiz, right? Cheese Whiz.
Yep, that's what I remember.
And what is it now?
No, I mean I think that's how it's still. It hasn't changed. It hasn't changed.
I see. Whiz.
Yeah.
Oh, there's an H in
No,
it now? That's weird.
I had one kind of trigger me the other day. I don't know if I am I on mute. Can you guys hear me?
Now I can hear you.
All right. The thing that triggered me was the Lowrys. I was telling Hebrew about it, but it didn't really resonate with him. But I pulled out the Lowrys, the seasoning. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Now, do you remember it as seasoning salt or as seasoned salt?
Seasoned salt.
Okay. Because I remembered it as seasoning salt. And when it said seasoned salt on it, it kind of threw me off. I never always thought it was seasoning salt.
What does it say now?
Seasoned salt.
Yeah, I don't know. That sounds weird to me. I'm
Seasoned
not.
with an S?
Yeah, seasoned, like it SEASONED is what it is now. But I remember it as seasoning salt. Like you used it as a seasoning, but it's salt that you use as a seasoning.
I don't remember seasoning. I remember like it is, like you said, it is seasoned or seasoned salt.
Oh no,
But
that's
it just
I just typed it in. Just what I found. I didn't only find season not being there. Like I remember Larry seasoned salt, and he remembers seasoning. But I just found Larry seasoned salt
Yeah, that's what he's saying. It is seasoned.
with a D.
Yeah.
Oh, because I can't hear him that well. I mean, I'm staying with y'all because I just love y'all, but I'm struggling. So, that's weird. It's not Larry seasoned salt. That's even harder to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember seasoning myself, but I'm not 100%, but that makes more sense to me.
yeah, Jocko says seasoning in chat.
The seasoning.
And Michelle's opinion says, yes, me too. But I'm not sure if she's referring to that or not.
Preliminary seasoning.
Very seasoned salt. But then again, gee, it's weird because I'm starting, like I said, I'm starting to see how you can see more than one thing, and you can actually, like after you mention that now about seasoning, my brain starts, sort of running through a Rolodex. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can you guys see that?
I don't see anything.
There it is there.
Well, hey, Hebrew.
Shoot, it's got some glare on it. Hold on. There you go. You see that?
No, that is weird.
Yeah, that's strange. That don't look great to me.
No, it doesn't. And does the L look a little bit off at the corner on the neck when you're
Yeah, it's like it's like too
to
skinny.
the left?
Yep. The bottom of the L.
Like not yeah.
Yep.
The one not close to the A, the one that's big bell at the top. It looks like a bell kind of like the loop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember it going down like a bell. I thought it used to go straight.
Yeah, I'm not 100% on the Lowrys myself, but
I don't really use it that much, but back when I was really young, I used to use it a lot.
Preliminary says the L is more curly.
Yeah, the L does look kind of extra curly to me, too.
Should I put it back up there?
I think that you can if you want.
Let's see.
We're still talking about it.
Yeah. There we go. It does kind of look it almost looks like a peppermint.
Well, yeah, actually, that's a well-known symbol by the FBI, but I ain't even going there.
Yeah, I ain't going to put the FBI card up there.
Yeah, it just struck me funny when I saw seasoned. I'm like, so the salt is seasoned, or do I use the salt for seasoning?
It's well
I don't
seasoned.
know.
It makes no sense.
It's well
Yeah.
seasoned. It's well seasoned. Get it?
I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's well seasoned.
It's a seasoned veteran. It's been around a while, you know. It's well seasoned. Oh, I got to put that down. My arms getting tired.
Wait a minute. It wasn't Larry's LA. No, that's wrong. Hold that back up again.
That's another thing that I've not.
Was spelled.
No,
There was an LAU. And I used to always wonder, no. Does anybody else remember that? Because it was like Larry's and
Preliminal.
LAU.
Preliminal spelled it LAURY''S.
Oh, I gotta. Hold on.
Yes.
Yeah, I spelled it wrong. I meant to put an A, but I spelled it in the chat as Lowry's. But
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
it is odd.
Right.
I mean, there's so many odd things with this salt. It's
Whoa. Michelle's in the chat says theirs actually says seasoning salt on it.
Hers says seasoning salt.
That's what she's saying.
There says seasoning salt.
Yep.
Really? Wow.
So is there two different products?
Send us. Hey, Michelle, do me a favor. Can you send me a picture in our Hangouts?
All I see for products here is seasoned.
I'd like to see that.
Okay, now wait a minute. There is a Larry's seasoning packet.
I got to turn my camera off.
Called Larry's seasoning packet. But that's not. That's like a chili or fajita or a taco packet.
Right.
But as far as the container goes, that should be just with a U, number one. And then that little loop that comes down over to the left where it makes it look like a bell at the bottom, that used to be straight.
Raising Zane.
What's the other one?
Raising Zane says they remember Lowry's with a O. LOWRY''S.
Yeah, I guess that's how.
Michelle said she'll email it to you.
Sometimes it just kind of makes it like when this happens on something, then you question again, is it just us not paying attention? But then there's too many things, especially with the Bible changes, that happened just while we were paying attention. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We're all paying attention now, and then all of a sudden with the Looney Tunes thing changing from one to the next and back to it again, and oh my gosh, I'm just so thrown off with all that, Well, I don't want to hold the line. Somebody else is trying to call in and tell their story, but I'm sure my son was paralleling himself on the way to. And you didn't. Oh, you know what? Armor, my son said this. He said that the reason Abraham knew that he was 800 years old is because he knew of every dimension back then. He knew how old he was because he was in every dimension. So he could still be in another dimension now. And that heaven could be very well just another dimension is what I think. And then there was that doctor who passed away recently, and he died, but he's back to life, but he didn't believe in God at all. And he said that God, he went to heaven with another dimension he went to. He called it that.
Yeah, definitely interesting theories. I mean, I never tell anyone what to believe or what, not to believe. And
right.
That definitely could be a possibility. I mean, personally, I believe, dimensions is definitely a thing. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think there's like more than one of us. Although it's a great possibility that in some type of, I also know that I don't know nothing about what the Father does and how he does it. So That's why I take nothing off the table. But that doesn't mean that there isn't different dimensions with people who look a lot like us, which was the whole point I was bringing up about the story that Lorraine shared. The fact that they didn't say the exact same things proves to me that they weren't us. No matter how much they looked like us, no matter the fact that they was buying the same thing as us, and all but said the same thing we said. They didn't say the same thing. So although it looks like us in another dimension, perhaps there is other dimensions, but it isn't us. It's just someone, a doppelganger, more or less. Like we were saying earlier, everyone has a double. That they're still not the same person. We're each the only us, I think. But I don't understand how the Father does anything, so we'll count other dimensions with other things.
The way I'm interpreting that is that you believe it's a separate soul. Each soul is its own entity.
Exactly.
Even though it may look like the same person,
Exactly.
it's its own creation.
That's what I was trying to say. Thank you for making it much simpler. Yes. I don't think it's other versions of us, basically.
Right.
But there's definitely something
Could there
weird.
be parallel things? Like, could there be the concept of a dimension be more like a wave of energy, and therefore both you and yourself are doing it at the same time? Like, if you went to an auditorium where there used to be a lot of like clapping and cheering, and if you close your eyes, you can almost feel the presence of the sound of the clapping and cheering from the football stadium, even though there's nothing there.
I wrote a paper on that a long time ago, Vivian, because when they do those things, they call that team spirit, and it almost is like it's creating its own. The word spirit comes into play, and it's almost like it creates its own presence. The crowd creates a unique presence because everybody's consciousness is in unison, wanting that victory or wanting that and is conjoined in wanting that same thing to be accomplished, whatever the accomplishment may be. And then when they use what is it when they call it team spirit, and what do they call it, they call it a pep rally or whatever. So I don't know, when you hear that phrase team spirit, I think they're not using it as loosely as you would think they are.
Well, then I do have a question though. What do y'all think happened to me when I got to the car and the car had shifted? I stood there wondering where I was going to put my groceries that day, and I looked at that boy and I said, where am I? I didn't care about the car being gone. I cared about where I was putting my groceries. And now I don't shop no more, y'all. Since then, I barely go shopping. I have my groceries delivered. I don't know if it just kind of freaked me out so bad that I found a way to get my groceries to my house now. The last, almost 2 years, I guess. I'd have to go back and look at the dates when it started. I think it's either 2 or 2.5 years ago. It has to be. But when it did happen, I was standing there by the back of the car, and all of a sudden I got out of the car. So I saw myself. And I mean, it really did happen. It's not a big deal. I've already overcome the fact that maybe nobody gets what happened to me. But so there was a man on a video the other night that I was listening to, and his story was that he was driving down the road, and all of a sudden he felt like he, like you would, like when you're driving in the country, Armor Up, I think you live out like in the country more, and that mirage look of the water on the ground, but it really isn't water, right?
Yep, I know what you mean. Especially on a hot day.
What?
I said, especially on a hot day. It's like the heat.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a long time because I haven't
Heat mirage, yeah.
But he said that he felt like he was driving, and all of a sudden he sensed this mirage type thing happen, And then next thing you know, he came to a four-way stop, and he literally saw his aunt's car pull up across the street from him at the stop sign. And when they passed, it was his aunt and uncle who had already died, and he was in the back seat of their vehicle when he was a kid.
Yep. Freaky.
Yeah, that's freaky. I mean, you can't really explain that away. There's not a logical explanation for that. It's just one of those things.
And that's what I say. There's so many possibilities. We could sit here all night with possibilities. You know what I mean? Is the enemy playing some type of trick? Is it a different dimension with a different, again, not us, but something very close to looking like us? Who knows? I don't know. It's way beyond my knowledge. You know?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different possible explanations, but it's just one of those things where you just gotta take it for what it is, I guess.
Well, I'll be here in the house and with my granddaughter, and have a really quiet home. And after my dog, my Chihuahua, died, me and my granddaughter at the same time hear my dog Cha Cha barking in the house. So that's kind of a little bit different. But do you feel, one last thing and then I'll go, what do you feel that it's almost like, say, from 2000, maybe 15, 16 on, this has become so much that it's just more and more and more of it, like it's stronger, getting stronger?
What is the Mandela effect or the spiritual
changes.
itself?
Yeah.
The changes?
Or just all the weird happenings, of just that girl's story and, my story and, and the Mandela effect and the Larrys with the W in there and, when it was clearly a you to me. And
Yeah, just all of it. I call it the awakening, and I think it's like it's happening so gradually. You can't. It's kind of like watching the sun rise. Trying to watch the sun, you can't really see it move, even though it's consistently moving. I think the awakening is consistently awakening. I think that it's just gradually becoming more. We're just gradually becoming more and more aware of what's going on, and those who can sense it are becoming more aware, and slowly more people that aren't currently aware are starting the path of awareness. I think it's an awakening. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
And I think it could be ramping up, or it could just be the fact that now that people are talking about it and the crowd's growing, people are looking for it more, so finding it more. So is it ramping up, or are we just looking more for it and seeing it? Could be either.
So we're becoming more aware. But I will
Well,
say
we're
that
just looking more for a
sometimes
change.
Scare me about it. I think if I was to say the truth about how I feel deep inside, sometimes I do feel, scared that, and it's not so much scared for myself because I know that I'm, going to see God. That's how I feel. I don't really believe we actually see God. I think we always stay under God, but I will see where, I'll be in His presence, and I don't know if it'll be a stronger presence than this one, that I don't know if we actually physically see God, because then I don't know. We would always have to have something bigger than us. I don't know if that makes any sense, but to me, that's just the way I think. But but my thought is, if we are, hold on, let me just gather it for a minute. I'm having a hard time. I've been under some stress. If we were to be, this is happening to us, and say it is the end, and say like you have like 10 loved ones, okay, in your family, and each one of those loved ones, maybe 2 of them are semi-understanding and awake. And I know we can't really save anybody but ourselves, but there's always that hope in your heart that the people that you love will be either happy, saved, or something in this life, right? So if because there was so many other things that never happened, like Y2K and things that really never did, when something now is happening, even that scripture where it used to talk about, peculiar people, that scripture's all messed up. It's not even the way it used to be. But it used to say that, God's people are peculiar people. But I guess what I would say, I wouldn't even want to use the word fear, but what would disturb me a little bit would be that now it is actually taking place, and there's been so much deception that if we are in the days of where, what the awakening time and what Hebrew said earlier, that then is, I guess in that sense, how many people that you really love that are the ones going, oh, you don't know what you're talking about or whatever, are just being left behind. The Great Awakening, yeah. So it's the Great Awakening that my son's awake, even though he's difficult, but he's awake. But my daughter, she's not in that way. But maybe I don't know, maybe she believes in God, so maybe she doesn't see this stuff, and maybe some of them don't have to see it to be. Does that make sense, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where, I mean, it's like once you start to realize, then you start catching more things. Like there's like it's almost like like let's say you're walking you walk the same path you go out every Sunday and you walk this nature trail, and you've walked this trail for 30 years. Then all of a sudden you notice a certain type of flower that grows along the side of the trail that you had never noticed before. It's like let's say it's yellow with yellow petals with a pink center or whatever. And then from that point on, every time you walk the trail, you start noticing that flower every time every place that it appears. Next thing you know, you start noticing another type of plant, and you start paying more attention to the kind of leaves on the trees. I mean, it's one of those things where it's all right there, but you're just not taking as much notice. Once you start taking notice, you start noticing a whole lot. That's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say.
I think here's my opinion. Here's what I brought it up either last show or the show before, where I was talking about examples of the Mandela effect, about messages being from God that are hidden messages that we have yet to find the meanings to. Like I was talking about Kit Kat, and I was talking about how the dash used to be in Kit Kat, and I was saying how the kit is humanity and the dash is separation, and the cat represents God, and there is a separation between humanity and God, and within that simple message, simple as Kit Kat, for the example I'm making right now, humanity has been separate from God, and now there's no longer a dash in Kit Kat. So now the word is no longer separate. It's both Kit Kat put together. So now instead of us being separate from God, we are now combined togetherness. We are finding togetherness with God. We are becoming one with God is what I should not necessarily, well, not one with God, but we're coming close. We're closer to God is what I'm trying to say. And in that example, if you look at the Mandela effect in that way, if you're trying to find the Mandela effects, in my opinion, it's not going to happen.
Right.
It's going to be Mandela effects that are being sent to you or being sent to whoever. It's messages, in my opinion, that's messages from God that He wants us to be able to understand. But only a few of us are going to be able to understand the hidden meanings and the messages. And I think that a lot of people who don't quite understand these hidden meanings are searching for it so badly that they're not seeing it. Does that make any sense to you, Vivian?
Yeah. But in my daughter's case, I don't really see her as anybody who does search out anything too physically deep. Like she doesn't really look to things to be, she just says, no, I just don't worry about all that stuff. And she just goes on and lives sort of this life of just get up every day, go to work. Maybe it's because also when you're raising children, you have a tendency to be more focused, on those things. And then maybe because some of us are a little bit older that are in, seeing it. Not that I haven't seen some young people who are really, really seeing the Mandela effect, including my grandkids, but my grandkids cannot talk about this with their mom. So when they come over to me, they're like, what they've seen, but yeah, it makes it's just, it's still sometimes shocking still. Like the other night with the Monopoly cards and how me and that lady, she was online and she was talking about the Monopoly cards missing the question mark on the back of the chance card, and that the backs of the cards were now blank. And as she was saying it, I was sitting there with jaw dropped when she said what I knew happened to me, but I didn't think I was believed. And that's what sometimes is really hard. When I bought my Monopoly game back in the day, we're talking like it was given to me by my family in the 70s, it used to have this really thick, heavy-duty board in the inside of it, and it was green on the back, and then the front where you would play the game was like a light blue color. But it was the board back with a green back, not a blue back. And then when I was looking up a Mandela effect one day, to see when we're mentioning on Dan's show about the Monopoly changing the word actually not being spelled properly either, I went and grabbed the game, and that night I opened it up and there was a blue board in there and it had no family markings on it. My family markings were gone, and so I kind of was like, I can't attach to this physical item. And in essence, that's a spiritual thing too, because that gets us to detach from this world and lean more toward God. But so then I asked my granddaughter to open the box when she came over the next few weeks later. And I said, tell me what's different. And she opened the box and she goes, where's the green board? So she knew herself. And I was like, oh, thank you. So then that night, last week, I went to go grab the box because of the chance cards, and all my cards were new. And she was saying it at the time I was picking them up, looking at them going, how can these cards have nothing on the back? And then they're look new. It was just like, what? This game is worn out. Oh, look, I'm looking at what you're doing now online. I had my head down, well, yeah. So, well, I hope I didn't overstay, and I love all y'all so much. I really do. If it wouldn't be for y'all, you have no idea. I'm sort of a shut-in. I work from home and, kind of a hermit, and I appreciate, not being alone through all this.
Well, absolutely.
And I know there's God, but I want, what is it called? When congregation,
community,
the congregation feeling, and so
Absolutely.
anyway, I'll let you go so somebody else can.
You've been
Hey,
thanks for calling in. We always appreciate it, and it's really good talking to you. And like you said, it is a good sense of community, and we're glad for people that call in for them to get things off of their chest and stuff like that. So that's what this is for. This is for people to get out there and get their message out there as well. So thank you.
right. Thank you. I'll be listening in. I'm going to sit here and write some poetry and be listening to the show at the same time. Y'all have a blessed night.
All right. Thanks for calling. Brothers, it is getting late and I got to get up and go to work at 7. So I can probably hang a little bit longer.
Right. I was just getting ready. I was just thinking about wrapping things up anyway. So we can go ahead and kill the call lines if you want to go ahead and do that.
All right.
And did you ever get that thing back from Michelle about the seasoned salt picture? Armor?
Not yet. My email is very slow though.
Well, I was thinking that would be something interesting to share.
Yeah, I
because-
definitely like to see that, but yeah, I haven't got it yet.
yeah. Whoa, where did Sadji go?
I don't know. Did we lose him? We lost him.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe he'll be right back.
Maybe he went to go take a picture of his seasoned salt. But anyway, everybody, we appreciate the phone calls. We appreciate you guys sharing things. That's what we're here for. We're here to get the message out. And what better way to get the message out than have everyone share their stories with us? Isn't that right?
Absolutely. I mean, like I've said a million times, if we think we know it all, we've already lost. So I'm always willing to hear everyone's experience. How else are we going to learn?
Very true.
So what do you have for us, Sadji?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right. No, I really enjoyed her call. I always like when Vivian calls. I enjoyed the caller before that.
Oh, I got some news for you guys. I got the email here. Where the heck did it go? Oh boy, lost it.
You're the king of anticipation and then losing the anticipation.
I know, right? No, wait a minute. Let me drag it up.
Are you saying he's like very anticlimactic?
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
Hold on. Just stay on the line just a little bit longer. I'm going to pull up this picture, okay?
All right.
Oh,
You guys aren't going to believe what I'm about to say next. It is so amazing. Oh, wait, never mind. I forgot.
You Hebrewed us. Interesting question, preliminal. We can challenge the board with this one while we're waiting on Hebrew. He says, did souls sin before they were born into sin, or does the sin nature cause sin?
Repeat that one more time.
Did souls sin before they were born into sin, or does the sin nature cause sin?
I'm going to go with the sin nature causes sin because I don't see how you can sin before you were born. That's the chicken and the egg theory put into sin, if you ask me.
Well, it all depends on if you believe that we were always an eternal being and we're spiritual before we became physical and then we go back to spiritual.
Yeah, that's a deep philosophical question. I think right off the top of my head, without giving it a lot of thought, the way I see it is when we're first born, we're there's like a veil of everything that we knew from before is hidden from us, and we're brought here to this reality, to this planet, to this realm, for lack of a better way of putting it, to it's like our testing grounds for and our learning grounds for us to be tested and for us to learn whatever it is our soul needs to learn, and it's our responsibility to get it right without having the answers already given to us. Even though we may have knew the answers before we got here, we're stripped of the answer sheet when we arrive. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, interesting. And I've heard that theory before. And yeah, again, highly possible. I think that little spark, like we was talking about before, well, I was saying about I truly believe everyone, Father's words are written in our heart, no matter where we're at in the world or where we come from or what language we speak or whether we ever seen a book. And I think that the word that's written in our heart, that part of us, that essence, that spirit, if you will, is sinless. And I think the flesh, once we're born, we're sort of like Cowboy says, through birth comes sin. That's basically it. Once we're born, once we become flesh, then the flesh is a sin nature. But the spirit in us is the good nature. It was sinless, and it is sinless.
Does the Bible specify a certain age or a point when you like atonement is allowed, or it can take place, like when you can actually, like a newborn baby obviously can't sin. I don't think it can. I mean, at what point do you become capable of sinning, I guess is what I'm asking.
Again, that's a very interesting question. Capable of sinning and sin being counted against you could be two different things, first of all, because we've all seen a child, I mean, usually not long after they can articulate sentences, perhaps lie, or, take a cookie and you say, did you take a cookie? And they say, no, I didn't take a cookie. Well, that's a lie. So that's quote unquote sin. Now, whether that sin's counted against the child is a whole different ballgame. So I think we're capable of sinning the moment we're capable of speech, if not before. I mean, the proof's in the pudding. Children lie. So they sin. So they're capable of sin at an early age. And I think that's because of the sin nature that they're born into. But I don't think the sin's counted against them. But what age sin is counted against you, I'm not even going to conjecture that. I don't know. I don't know if there is a biblical precedent. I haven't really looked into it.
Yeah, I was just always curious as to at what point you can actually start being held accountable, and or even start being. I guess the sin is not necessarily a sin until it's a sin you can be held accountable for. Or am I getting that wrong?
Well, who knows? Again, it's a sin by the fact that, I mean, lying's a sin. There's no doubt about that. Cheating's a sin. Stealing's a sin.
I guess to word it differently is, at what age is a person capable of? I mean, like you said, once you can, but even before you can speak, you can still deceive, even through your actions. You know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly. So it's I mean, capable of sinning seems to come with birth, as Cowboy said. Basically, with birth, you have the ability to sin. But
yeah, I mean, I guess even a baby is capable of. I mean, of. I'm not saying. I'm not trying to talk bad about babies. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying. Like I'm sure that as soon as you set a baby down, it cries, even though it doesn't really need anything. It just wants you to hold it a certain way. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just reaching out on limbs here.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Absolutely. That's sort of a form of manipulation. They know if I cry, you'll pick me up. I get what I want. So yeah, that's why I say it's such a deep question. But we're capable of sin, obviously, at birth. Now, again, I don't think it's held against us that early in life, because we're not really. I don't think a baby's capable of reasoning right from wrong yet. You know what I mean?
So that's probably it. I'll go with that theory. This moment you realize you're doing wrong, yet choose to do it anyway, that is when you are actually sinning, I guess, right?
Perhaps that would make the most sense. I mean, the minute you know that you're lying or stealing is the minute you're sinning, and probably held accountable for it, because now you've made a conscious choice of wrong over right. You know the difference, yet you chose the wrong. At what age that happens, that could be different I'm sure it is different for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, and then you have the argument of the person that's. I mean, I'm just doing this banter for argument's sake. I'm not really trying to be disagreeable, just so you know.
Right.
But like, you have the person that is accused of stealing or gets caught stealing, food from the store to feed, let's say they're stealing Similac to feed their baby. Is that theft just as bad as stealing cash from the cash register to support a habit?
Yeah, exactly. Who knows? Is one even considered a sin compared to the other? Who knows? You know what I mean?
Right. So
Yeah.
where'd Hebrew go? Did we lose him? I don't even see him on the picture.
No, we seem to have lost him at the moment.
I think.
Hopefully he comes back so we can end it. I don't think anyone else can end it.
I mean, I guess if everybody left, would it just keep scrolling?
I don't know. It might just stay up forever. The never-ending Hebrew show.
I mean, this episode has been extremely shifty. I think this might be our shiftiest episode yet.
Definitely, I think it could be. First, the calls weren't working. We had no sound, and then you shifted out and back. Now Hebrew shifted out. Oh, wait, he's in the chat. Give him a minute. At least he's still with us. But yeah, awesome questions. And I think those are questions that's been asked forever. And that's the whole point of being willing to admit we really don't know how the Father
Yep.
does it all. And I'm good with that. I'm good with the fact that I don't know. It's okay. You know what I mean? I know what I know, and I believe what I believe, and I'm not supposed to know everything.
Yeah, I remember when my kids were young, I would pose those kind of hypothetical questions to them just to see what kind of answers they would give me, because I think that in a child's mind, it's kind of like it's not been jaded or skewed as much as an adult's mind. So the answers they're going to give you are just a little bit more pure of heart,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why children can usually see a lot more than we can see until the world takes that away from us, makes us forget about it. That pureness, that connection. Lost the stream. Send him an invite. Hold on. I don't know if we can. Let's see if I can.
It's in Shifty Sunday. That's how I came back in.
Oh, yeah. The Shifty Sunday hangout should still have a link, Hebrew. It should still be in the Shifty Sunday hangouts, brother. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, it's right there. I'll copy it and send it back into Shifty Sundays. So it'll ding you. There you go. I sent it in the Shifty Sunday room.
You would think he wouldn't need the link since it's his show.
Yeah, that's strange.
We are up in the top left-hand corner, 3 hours and 8 minutes. I think we're setting a new record or darn close to it.
Yeah, and I definitely got to get some sleep because I got a lot of drive tomorrow. Then I got to drive tomorrow night and all day Tuesday. Yeah.
When you do go to sleep, do you usually sleep pretty well though? Like do you like I always have interrupted sleep. Like about 3 hours in, I got to get up and go pee, or I just wake up because something, I hear a noise or whatever. I just have a hard time getting a good 6, 7, 8 hours sleep.
Yeah, I'm old too, so yeah, I got to get up a couple times in the night and visit the bathroom, and so yeah, Cowboy sums it up about the same as what I was trying to say. The moment you know the word of God, or the moment you know you're doing wrong, I don't think you even have to know the word of God because it's written in our heart. But that's probably
right.
The moment you know that it's written in your heart that it's wrong and you do it, now you're responsible. But you're all born in sin. Absolutely. And that's
Man,
Hey, how nice of you to join us.
but that was close, man. I got lost, and then I tried to. Okay, here's what happened.
You once were lost, but now you're found. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, that too, but I mean, dude, you don't understand. Like, I tried to send Armor the email that the picture that Michelle's opinion sent me,
Uh huh.
and as I was doing all that rigmarole, and all of a sudden it kicked me out of my own. It kicked me out of StreamYard. So once I got out there, I couldn't get back in. And even when you sent me the link, Armor, I clicked on it and it sent me to a thing that said you don't have Chrome to do this. I'm like, what? So I had to go and click the Chrome button to get back into StreamYard. It was weird. It was like a Twilight Zone episode.
I see. So I take it you still weren't successful with sending the image. Why didn't you just put it in Shifty Sunday?
No, I was unsuccessful. That's the thing.
Right.
I don't know how to send an image from your email to the Shifty Sunday Hangouts.
Oh, okay.
I wish she could have just sent it straight to the Hangouts. That would have been better, but I'm trying to
Well,
figure it. I tried to figure it out.
Can you just present it or not?
Who, me?
No, that other guy standing right next to you.
If I try to present it, it might show up on screen. Then everybody will know the key root word to my email account, and everyone that's in the chat room right now will try to hack it.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't want that to happen.
No,
Or do we?
you guys were
Oh, you
having
say? Well, I guess we'll just have to wait till next week to find out the answer to the Lowry's. Yeah, the seasoned salt. Maybe I'll look up. See what I can look up online between now and then as well.
Wait. Let me try this just one more time. Give me 1 second. I got a picture up here in the corner. No, that's not it. Go ahead and talk amongst yourselves. I promise I won't leave this time.
Well, I mean, I think we'll be okay with just having to wait till next time. If it's, I don't want you to accidentally share too much or.
It ain't a problem with sharing too much. I just don't know where the heck the thing went. I saved it somewhere. Maybe to my documents, do you think, Armor?
Wherever you have your images saved to, you probably have a pre-designated place.
No, they can't be. Pictures. Perhaps. Let's go to pictures. Let's go to documents, I guess. No, downloads, right? Downloads.
Yeah, maybe downloads.
Let's see. LSPED. No, that's not it. Well, maybe it is. Let me open that. Dang gummit. Read me. No. That's a PDF file. Dang it.
Just go back to the email, right click, save as, and tell it to go to your desktop.
It won't. Okay. Not going to mention any names, but blah, blah, blah. Images. Oh, okay. I see where it's showing. Okay. Right click. Save or open.
I don't know what you
Well, if you
got.
open
So
it, you should be able to You should be able to share it.
Save.
Yep.
Yeah, but my whatchamadoodle won't let me do that. Okay, I saved it to my pictures. So now let me go into pictures, okay?
all right.
And then I'll send it to our Shifty Sundays hangout, and one of you guys can present it. All right. Go back to pictures. And come on. Really? Okay, there's pictures. Nope, that didn't do it, sir.
All right. Well, maybe it just isn't meant to be tonight.
It just
What?
isn't meant to be. Yeah, it is. You just don't understand. No. Okay, I guess pictures. It should be right there. What? Maybe I should give it a name.
Well, just send it to your desktop, and then you'll see it on your desktop. Save as. I'll send it.
Oh, send it to my desktop?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Hang on. That's a good idea, sir.
I said that the first time, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I don't listen too good. Enlarge it. Well, look, hey, if I enlarge it, I could share it without you guys seeing everything I have, right?
I believe so. I mean,
Be able to just pick.
you would.
Hold on.
When you go to share screen, you should be able to pick just it, basically. Go to application window or Google tab or something like that.
Okay, hang on. I got to exit out this one. Yeah. There it is. Yeah. Okay. We go screen share. What happened? You guys still there?
Yep, we're still
We're
here.
still here.
What did I just do?
I have no idea.
Screen share. Yes. Oh, do you see it?
Not yet.
Huh. How about now?
You have to pick. There you go. Yep.
You're doing something now, yeah. Oh wait, it's got a green cap.
Yeah.
That's a slightly different product, I think.
No, it says Larry's.
Maximize that window so we don't see the other window.
Okay, let me try the max. Okay. How about that?
Yeah, that's a
All
little.
right, now can you zoom in on it a little bit?
Ooh. Okay, yeah, get the plus sign here. Okay. Whoa. Seasoning. No, that doesn't say seasoned salt though.
Totally seasoning.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a Lowry's product, but it's not the same
No.
thing that you had in your hand.
Total seasoning.
Yeah, total seasoning. It's just another. That kind of looks like Mrs. Dash a little bit or something.
Yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So that's not seasoned or seasoning salt like we thought.
Right. But I do see the word seasoning, which is, how I remember it nevertheless.
Yeah,
So,
that is very true. Hey, I like the screen sharing, guys.
Yeah, it ain't that hard to do. Once you
No.
learn it, it's pretty simple.
Once,
It's easier to screen share in this than it was in Hangouts. I guarantee you that.
oh yeah. You know what, God's Armor? I gotta say this. I like this program a lot better than I did Hangouts.
Yeah, it's much more user friendly.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
It's 1 a.m. I definitely got to bounce.
yep.
all right. Well,
That is.
let's wrap it up there,
Let's
Hebrew.
close it out. Let's close it out with one last shout out, and we'll get out of here. Okay.
All right. We got Michelle's Opinions with a Wrench, Truth Sets You Free, Preliminal, Jocko R. Everyone's talking at the moment. Let me screw up a bit. Cowboys here with a wrench. E-Man 31 popped in. Raising Zane, of course, was here. Hopefully still hanging with us. Oiler Greg. There, everyone has been here for the last hour or so, at least.
All right.
All right.
Well, take us out of here, Hebrew.
Sounds good. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in for Shifty Sunday. This has been Hebrew along with God's Armor and Sagittarically Speaking. And as always, God bless everyone. And you all have a good night. And we'll see you Well, we'll go check out God's Armor's channel. It's Wednesday Word. Check it out. But we'll definitely see you next Shifty Sunday. Good night, everybody. And broadcast. Yes, sir.